So I'm joined by with my friend today. That's already a good start. Ellis James, and we're going to be talking about a bit of politics and a bit of football. So it should be fun. Some spirited debate on the football stuff, maybe.
Two absolutely miserable subjects for us both.
Yeah.
At this point,
he tries to argue the Arsenal Invincible team is better than 99%. I swear, I'll have him right now. Or his punches being thrown.
Oh, it's going to be a long day, isn't it?
I've got a list of questions for Ellis and fellow member of the 2-1 gang, history graduate.
Yeah.
And let's get this started then.
Lovely stuff. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
What's your initial reaction to Brexit? So 2016, hop in the time machine.
Oh God, that was a long time ago. I remember.
I feel old in that time.
Yeah, it's funny enough. Everything I voted for in politics, I've never won.
Probably vote the other side then.
Yeah,
I might vote for Michael.
I might start voting for something different. I think it was more just like a shock. I guess because a lot of us have like a very clouded view on Twitter.
Twitter's very insulated.
Exactly, and you only follow people who share similar views.
Or you follow Piers Morgan to dunk.
Well, that's a different story. I follow him for his Arsenal takes. It was very surprising. It was quite a somber day. I guess not in the point of where I was like crying, like oh no. It was just like it felt at the time like a vote against the youth, like everything the young people would want. The freedom of travel, movement to live and work in other countries, and it felt like people who had had that right for so long, they'd got to the top of the ladder and then just pulled the ladder from underneath them. And it was just an odd occasion. I guess it was quite surreal almost. Yeah. It didn't feel like it had happened. I was so confident that Remain would win, not by much, but I thought maybe like a 60-40 or something of the sort. But I guess
seems
people
quite a lot now, to be fair. 60-40,
yeah, 60-40 seems massive.
60-40 seems a lot. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was at Kanan's house, big up Kanan, because my Wi-Fi was down for some reason. So he goes, "Oh, you stay at my house if you want." And I'm like, I ain't living in a place with no Wi-Fi, so
Kanan's a good lad, bless him.
Stayed at his house for I think that day and that night, and so I think we just stayed up playing like something. I can't remember what games were out back then. This is pre-Switch, man. I think.
God, yeah. Switch. It had its 3-year birthday, didn't it? Switch.
So it's pre-Nintendo Switch, man. So no Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I think we're playing Zelda, one of the Zelda games, and it's awful because I can't read the map. I can't read Japanese maps, innit? And I've just been terrible. And so like I was sort of in and out because I think it was about 3 AM or something like that. And I was like, "Rah, Kanan, like leave one." I'm just like, he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Can't believe it."
Yeah.
And I was just in shock. And we were like both dead because this is 3 AM.
Yeah, at the point it's just like tiredness and
we didn't understand because they said we're gonna stay in the single market. We're gonna be like Norway, and
yeah.
now they're like, who's Norway?
Exactly.
And
I think the idea of what Brexit was, and people were like, oh, the whole point, we're going to forge a new relationship with the European Union. It's like we're not. We're pulling the rug from underneath us.
And that moves us on to our second question. So how the goalposts have been moved from staying within the single market to leaving all EU institutions. How do you think that's happened? Like, went from only a madman would want to leave the single market to who why would we want to be like Norway?
Yeah.
They're not very happy, are they?
Yeah, not the happiest country in the world with the best education systems. I think
beat them on healthcare somehow. I don't know how that's possible.
No, do I? Big up the NHS.
Sacked the NHS for about 10 years now. And the NHS is like, and still.
The NHS won't die. We will fight for it, but yeah.
No, I think it's going to be done.
I think it's getting to that point, which is scary. But
how the goalposts have been moved from staying within the single market to leaving all EU institutions, and how do you think this has happened? So, I mean, the single market is probably the second highest level within the EU. I think you have where we are now, or where we were.
Yeah.
So as a rule maker and a rule taker, and we want to be the king. So we make all the rules and everyone else follows. So the single market, that's where Norway are, right? And then you've got the customs union, that's got Turkey in it as well.
Yeah.
And so we want to leave all of them, and we want. The joke is a Canada-style deal, which is a legit thing, and an Australia-style deal, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Like that's just another way of saying no deal. Because Australia don't have a deal.
Yeah, there was the whole phrasing is people, because they know people will read that in their Daily Mail and the Sun and
they have those focus groups. Like, do you remember watch the thing of it? Like that's a good show. You should watch that. Where they had the focus group in and they thought the lady was a spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Where they'll do a load of focus groups. They'll get very specific people in to see what resonates with them, and that's something that I think Cummings has done really well.
Yeah.
And so.
No, I agree, and I think over the course since the referendum in 2016 that the Leavers and the government in charge, the Conservatives, have made the European Union seem like the bad guys in this. They're the ones. They're not giving us concessions. They're not giving us this. We're Great Britain. We're the best country in the world. La 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 la.
That's the point I make in a lot of my videos. We're not Big Boss. We're not freaking Yama Yugi. Like we're not top dons. We haven't been top dons for what since What was the agreement post World War Two? The I've been to the palace as well.
You're testing my knowledge now.
Yeah,
this is. I got a history degree, but this is not my area.
I'll have to Google it. But I went to the palace in Berlin. You had the three head honchos. You had Stalin in one chair, Churchill, and you had. It
was Roosevelt, wasn't it?
It was Roosevelt, and then Roosevelt had died.
It's Eisenhower, wasn't it? Eisenhower.
It was Eisenhower. Yeah, I think it was Eisenhower. Yeah. And it's pretty embarrassing for both of us, to be fair.
Yeah, no, sorry.
No, it happens, and I've sprung this on you, to be fair. And so, we were at that point, you could argue we were the third biggest superpower in the world because we were there at the table.
Yeah.
But now, we don't rate.
I think because people have lived through in society, people have lived through the war, and people have lived through the British Empire who are still alive now. We still have this idea that we're Great Britain. We're an empire.
Britannia rules the waves.
Exactly, and people still have that in their heads that we have the power to make. We can make the deals. We're the ones people want to answer to. When we're not, we're a small part player in a big world.
Well, it's very reminiscent to when a player wants to leave a club, and instead the club saying, "We'll give you all the money you want, just sign a new contract." It's like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
You meet our standards, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Very similar to, I suppose, what Atletico did to Griezmann. The only difference is they haven't signed a replacement for us.
Yeah.
Imagine they get that US deal done, or they start it, and it'd be them kind of replacing us in a way.
Yeah.
Because what Atletico did to Griezmann was the most savage thing I've seen in football. It's like, okay, you want to leave, yeah? Okay, bye. Shirt number. What's the name? João Felix.
Yeah.
Here's your shirt number, mate.
To be
Griezmann,
fair,
you're out. And that's kind of what's happened to us, where we've walked in there we want a better deal than we have now. We want to pay nothing, and we want no immigrants. But we also want to go to your country still.
Yeah, and it's this idea that it's one rule for us, and one rule for the rest of the European countries, and it's like there's no difference. We're all European citizens, and I think people have this idea that we can go to their countries, do what we want, but they can't come here.
Yeah, and the fact that did you watch the kind of the O'Collin video I did recently?
Yeah.
Where did you watch that one? Oh, it's great. And so when the guy was like, I didn't think they would end it for the proper Europeans. I'm just like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah. What's a proper European?
Because in any sense, we're off the continent. They could try and argue we're not proper Europeans because we're our own island.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the lady was saying, oh, they're going to get rid of us because we give too much to the Spanish economy. It's like EU migrants chip in more to the economy than natives and also non-EU immigrants. And before you guys start coming for us, I swear, you don't want this smoke, fam.
You don't want
you start
smoke.
Kicking us out, all you're going to have is beans on toast all day.
The Bangladeshi bandit.
Exactly.
They'll have none of it.
Big match, the Bangladeshi bandit, all the bees. But that's the point, isn't it? If you try and make it from an economic perspective, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And people, who's the one, working in the council? I see a lot of social service work. It's not what I do, but you hear of it. I get to hear about it.
Big distinction there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not my area. But a lot of our
that work is hard though, bro.
It's very difficult, and a lot of our social workers aren't, white Brits. They're from all over the place. A lot of our carers, nurses, they're from Europe and beyond.
Yeah, we've got a nurse shortage already.
Yeah, we're massively short, and you want to try and get rid of the people who are making the NHS so great. You're just going to have people dying on the floors, and as a massive stereotype, it's obviously portrayed that the elderly are the ones who vote to leave more, which is a fact.
The thing is, I think it was the war generation. They actually voted to remain.
Yeah, there was a war generation voted to remain, and then it's pensioners voted to leave, and then it was middle-aged voted to leave.
Xers, Gen Xers, right?
Yeah, and then obviously the millennials and around that era voted as a generalisation.
There's one question I think I should have thrown in here, why young people don't vote? Because it's actually triggering me now. It's gone in my head where they've snaked Bernie Sanders now. They didn't come out, and you can say that he has to get them out to vote. And it's no, generally people our age.
But people, I think people aren't educated on politics enough in schools anyway. I think that's a baseline. But people are just lazy to vote. Because we're the technological age.
Yeah.
People think, I have to walk in the rain to vote.
But I think it's historic. Young people just have. I think when you get older, that's when you realise. When you start paying taxes and stuff.
Yeah.
And you see it come out, and then you're like, I actually pay for this. It's like when you see your bank bill, and you're like, I actually pay for these subscriptions. I should really either cancel them or take an interest in them. And I feel like younger people, I don't know what it is, man. And it's maybe we just don't see the candidates we like. But at the same time, you're not, unless you run, even if you run yourself, you're not going to get the ideal candidate because you're still going to have to censor yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing where if we don't go out and vote, we're going to end up with clowns that we have now.
Yeah. Emphasis on clowns.
Clowns. We're going to have people like Trump. People like Joseph Biden. Have you followed any of Biden? His brain is melting.
Yeah,
he keeps forgetting Obama's name. He's like,
But he's an old man. Like,
yeah, but the thing is, Bernie's an old man. But like, the difference is Bernie's physical health deteriorated because he was doing too much.
Yeah.
But when your mental health starts declining, A,
That's-
you don't know it's happening, and B, you don't want it. Like,
Exactly.
you want to deny it and see. Like, the only people who see it is the people around you. Like,
Yeah.
the man goes, "Oh, President, my boss," and I'm like,
yeah.
"What?"
It's cringy to watch, but
Yeah.
I think as you get older, like you said, you know, you become more aware of what you're paying and what society offers, and it's like a protectionism almost. Like older people tend to vote Conservative because at that, obviously, as a typical, once you get towards your middle age and your pension age, you have a house,
Bigger
you
stake in
have,
this.
you've got stuff to lose, you've got a bit of money, you've got your income, and as we were saying before the podcast as well, it's like once you get to the top of that ladder, you pull that ladder from under you.
I'll tell you what. If we go to question 3, we'll come back to question 2 because I think we've just kind of absolutely just jumped off a cliff with that one. So we go winners and losers of Brexit. Because we just touched on that with the NHS. Obviously, there's a nurse shortage already, and a lot of them are leaving because like there's a video I have to do soon anyway. There's a lot of racial abuse in the NHS, and just the madness of a guy or a person who's trying to help you out. And you're like, yeah, screw you, pack in. You're just like,
Yeah.
this man's going to patch you up, or this person's going to patch you up, and they're going to let you go back outside.
Just to clarify, that was Madge who said the P word, not me. I wouldn't say that.
But do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just,
Yeah, no.
yeah, but like, yeah, that's my point. No, like, like if you say to a nurse like, oh, you don't speak English. I don't like the way you speak English. It's like, yeah, I don't like the fact that you're drunk at like 3 a.m. and I have to like pump your stomach. Do you know what I mean?
I think it was BBC News or Sky News, one of the two. They tweeted out about potential rule changes that would allow people who abuse NHS staff on the basis of their nationality, that they could refuse them treatment. And people in the comments were like, "Oh, that's an outrage." I don't care what people say. They should, the NHS should treat people. I'm like, your racism is really showing. Like, if you're going into an NHS ward and you've got a broken arm, broken leg, or like you said, you're drunk, your stomach pumping, or you just something's happened, you're in A&E, and say a Romanian nurse comes up to you and says, how can I help, sir? What do you need? Sees your broken arm, wants to help you, and you go, oh, get off me, you're Romanian, I don't know the way you speak English, you don't belong from my country. At that point, that nurse should have the backing of her colleagues to go, you are not going to be treated here, sir. You can go to another hospital and try and find someone that will care for you, because we will not have that. You don't have the luxury of refusing treatment. You can go to, if you want to go to private healthcare, you do that, but you will not come and abuse the people who are doing their absolute utmost in dire conditions to help you.
Because there's only two real places where you can get away with abusing staff. It feels like the NHS and sports stadiums.
Yeah.
And I don't care how much people get paid. You know what I mean? Like, abusing them is just silly.
I think going for like a football perspective, like we've sat in the stands and gone, oh, he's crap.
He's rubbish.
Yeah, get him off. He's a rubbish footballer. And further swear words will include, but we won't say them here. We all go on Twitter after a game and say, oh, I was a victim. Oh, I did this all the time.
Speak for yourself. I'm like, Pereira, you're the goat, mate. I've never seen a man do this decision. No, to be fair, I do occasionally go on the odd Twitter thing like, this guy's rubbish.
But I think that's fair. Like, I have the right as a paying fan to say this person's rubbish, but there's a light, like with Granit Xhaka. Don't get me wrong, he's played fantastically recently, and I'll chat more about him later, I'm sure, because big up Granit. But a few months ago, he was
rubbish,
woeful, and I was like, get this man out of my club. He is awful. And the fans were on, sending him like death threats, wishing him to have cancer,
people do that. Like, people wish death on someone else. I'm just like, do you realise how like impactful death is on someone? Like,
and stuff like, oh, I hope your wife gets cancer. He's just had a baby as well. Oh, I hope your baby dies. There's like, the man is a human being. Don't get me wrong. I think every footballer is overpaid. I think. But
at the same time, like, if you use a Marxist critique of it, they're underpaid because the wealth they generate for the club is far more than they actually get paid. That's the problem, isn't it?
And I think I'll come on to a point in a second about when people complain about X profession doesn't get paid as much as a footballer, but it's supply and demand.
But it's like that. It's like I said, he generates the wealth for that thing, and I agree. I think nurses and doctors and anyone who works in the public sector should get paid more.
Yeah, they're massively underpaid, but that's not the fault. That's not a bloke kicking a football out for 90 minutes' fault. That's your government's fault.
And the thing is, right, his taxes will pay for a lot of these people who work in the NHS. Like, you can't imagine how much in taxes, like, even someone like Juan Mata pays. I think Juan Mata's on 150,000. Like, a lot of his money is going to be taxed. I think about 45% of every every bill he gets is going to be taxed, and then you got national insurance on top of that.
Yeah.
So he's going to be paying for, bruv, you could argue he's paying for a lot of the stuff within Manchester Hospital.
You say a footballer earns 100k a week, you know, let's say they make 400k a month, like, even if you're taxing 45% of that, that's a massive amount of money that's going back into our services. Like, I'm not saying we should pay footballers more. I think the money in football is ludicrous, as probably everyone else does. But like you said, they have that ability to contribute back to society, and it's a supply and demand.
And they do it as well, because a lot of these guys, they come from nothing, very humble origins. A lot of these guys.
You look at people like Richarlison is a big one, isn't he? Like
Ronaldo.
Yeah, you know, grew up in the streets of the favela, and now one of the best
not
players.
Ronaldo, obviously Richarlison. Though. I think Ronaldo, yeah. Man like Ronaldo in those Portuguese favelas.
No, like Richarlison, but even like I say fat Ronaldo. It's just the way to differentiate.
Brazilian Ronaldo.
Sorry.
Put some respect on R9's name.
Sorry, R9. If you're listening, Il Fenomeno. Nothing personal. I think you're a good player.
I kept trying to do a skill. What was it called? El Tornado.
Yeah.
On FIFA, I don't know how to do it. It's the closest I'll get to an actual skill move. But
like, I've got the original point, mate.
You're just talking about like taxes. How much?
Tangent.
That's the problem. Yeah, we're going off. Yeah.
Well, like we said, just with football as well. Like, you know, you said about abusing staff, and you said it's like the NHS is so uncalled for because that person's trying to help. You know, if you want to call a footballer, if you want to call them bad at football, you have every single right.
Like, you get some like medical professionals who aren't that good, and I can say honestly, I go for doctors literally about once a year.
Yeah.
And I went and had a chest infection. I know I had a chest infection because it's the one thing that always gets me every few years when it's like, yeah, you've been ill for a week. You got all the symptoms. It's an infection, right? And I go in there, you know, it takes ages. It's overrun because they don't have enough doctors there. Okay?
Yeah, and we're a very concentrated population.
All right, bro, I need some antibiotics or something. I've got this in my head, and I know they don't give them out willy-nilly, yeah, but I need something to just help me out. My man charges me £8 for. He gives me prescriptions £8 for a throat spray. It's like really hard to ingest because you got to like. It goes quite far back.
Yeah, I had that recently, yeah.
And then B, it didn't do anything. Like, you know, I'm just going to heal the old-fashioned way, which is if I die, I die. And like, if I said about him, he's not a good doctor, I don't want to ever see him again. That's massively different from me saying, yeah, this guy, bloody Indian, you know, get him out of the country. You don't know what he's doing. Like, I could argue that I agree, but you know, he's the one who's been to medical school, and they don't give out antibiotics as much anymore, which is a pain. I think there's a massive difference between that and saying, bloody Romanian, get off me. I want someone who's English.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like proper white. You know what, like a wasp, you know, white Anglo-Saxon, all that stuff.
But we have, you know, if your doctor, if you think, you know, doctor's giving me nothing, he's just said I'm fine, blah blah blah. Yeah, you've got the right to say I don't think I'm fine. You know, I don't think this
Second opinion.
Yeah, you can do that. That's not a problem. It's when you go, this doctor's crap because he's from India, he's from Pakistan, whatever. That's where the line is crossed. And
or if you say, you know, this doctor's crap because he's from like Romania, or like this nurse crap, even though they have like a European standard for nursing, which is something I found out, which is really interesting.
And the European standards for everything are immaculately high, like
very high.
But you think like nursing, food, care, like even like
it's the gold standard, really, isn't it? It's the highest. I think the highest standards probably in the world.
Well, you've been to Germany as well, because I've been. I'm also going to
Big up Berlin.
Berlin's a great place.
So you go to the pub where the beer hall putsch happened?
I am, yeah. Oh, well, I'm not going just for that. Just to clarify, I'm going for the.
Yeehaw! Papa, here comes. This is the putsch.
I'm going for the Euro 2020 quarterfinal in Munich. Got tickets, so hopefully it doesn't get called off for the coronavirus. But
the Prem gets called off. But, you know,
oh yeah, so am I. We don't want Liverpool to win the league. But like the public services there, the buses, the trains, they're so good. Like they're just ready there. Boom.
Yeah, when I went like on the underground. It wasn't like the best public service, but in fairness, public transport, like you just want it to A to B as fast as you can. You don't want like a freaking limousine service.
Yeah. I think for people who use the tube a lot, I don't, but I've got a few mates who work in London. The only thing they want is just no, we don't. We're getting the bus. Like the only thing we want is air conditioned tubes, because when you get on a tube in the middle of summer, it's horrible because it's such a dense population. Yeah, like. I had a few people who've been to New York and said all their like subways are like air conditioned, ventilated. That's all they need, and the tube will be fine. Like you're not, like you said, I'm not getting on there to get a luxury seat and put my feet up. I want to go a few stops to get to Wembley to watch football, or I want to get to
good times
wherever. Yeah.
But so like if we do winners and losers of Brexit, like, we'll keep this as concise as possible.
Yeah.
So we'll go with winners. Who do you think wins from this?
The people who win with Brexit are the same people who win in society is the elite. It's the richest of the rich.
They're singing that T-Pain, all I do is win no matter what.
Or throwing dollar bills.
Wolf of Wall Street. But
ultimately they're the winners. They're the ones who got what they wanted. You know, they pumped a lot of money, and a lot of politicians had a lot of money invested in the tanking of the economy, which it did. You know,
Farage was on. You can see him standing with the picture of the pound dropping, being very pleased.
Yeah, Jacob Rees-Mogg, another one who emphasis on clown again.
Yeah, man, I need some facepaint now. At this point, like, he's got everything else ready.
He's. I hate him. I'll be concise. Jacob Rees-Mogg, if you're listening, which you're not, but if you
feel
do,
free to jump on the podcast, mate. You know, show us your side of the story.
Yeah, if you want to come on, if you want to hate me, fair enough. I hate you. Just I'll come out and say it.
1v1 Ellis in the octagon, you know.
Get Bruce Buffer. Tilty.
Get the Rock as well. You know?
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Exactly.
But
okay, man.
the winners from that, like, you know, were the people who invested a lot of money and made a lot of money as a result. And
into the stock market.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the losers are going to be people like us. You know, I'm quite a European adventurer.
Northampton Globetrotter.
I am a little bit, yeah. I've got a few holidays this year, but I travel quite a lot of Europe just for the fun of it, because it's so easy and accessible to go to, and you get such a range of cultures in such a.
Yeah, I enjoyed going to Amsterdam. It's fun. You know, the museum they have. God.
The Rijksmuseum with all the paintings, and
yeah,
there's like an underground bit which like all like the war weapons and stuff.
Yeah, I checked out.
Yeah.
They got like three floors that I went to. I saw the what's it called, man? Like the medieval stuff at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, they have like a Nordic drinking hall, and I'm like, imagine drinking out of that thing. Wow. They had the second floor. You got like all the pirates and stuff. And
yeah.
They got an upstairs bit which has a life-size Nazi plane.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and there's a lot of paintings as well. A lot of beautiful art.
Yeah, that museum's
great.
And how much is it to get in?
Like €20, I think it was. 25 euros.
Bargain.
It's when you €25 to go to a museum, but I think
it's probably one of the best museums.
Oh, definitely. I think I went there for about 5 hours. I think I was there for.
You can spend all day in there.
Oh, easily. Great.
You can spend
place.
all day in there.
And we have all this accessibility. You know, Berlin's what was that? Hour 40 flight, something like that. Maybe a little longer.
Yeah, it's not a long flight.
It's a quick flight.
It's no Bangladesh. I tell you that for free.
Yeah, I flew not that the Ukraine is in the European Union, but I flew to Kiev in 3 and a bit hours. Like, there's such a wide range of culture, so close, and and a lot of young people feel a bit betrayed that their rights to do that have been voted against.
Because the thing is, right, I think we'll have to get a tourist visa, and you'll probably have to get health insurance. But for us, health insurance will be quite cheap anyway.
Yeah.
For older people, good luck. Genuinely good luck getting health insurance.
Oh yeah.
It is savage out there.
It is horrible. You have one little problem, you're absolutely
like
done
I said,
for.
you know, when I did that, the Brexit exceptionism video, there's a guy, I think he was saying he had to spend like hundreds of euros each week just to get the meds he's on now.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that guy's gonna die.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna die, and he says it's the Spanish government's fault for not helping him out. It's not the Spanish government's responsibility.
No.
It really isn't. Like, we can say this from a human perspective, that, you know, every nation should help out everyone else, but at the same time, it's not that nation state's responsibility. We're the ones who decide to leave. We're the ones who decide to pull out of EU institutions. The EU health card, for example, that's on us. And if the government won't help these people out, then A, why did you vote Brexit for if you're one of these people specifically? And B, you need to get on the government's case. You have to come back and do something. Like, you have to tell them.
And I think a lot of people have looked at, you know, the most Googled question after the European Union is, what is the European Union?
God.
People, and not that I'm trying to target anyone, but it's the people who pick up the Sun, who pick up the Daily Mail, who, you know, they see that they buy it for, I don't know how much the Sun is, 50p, or the Daily Mail is like £1.10 or something.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
People pick it up and they see the front cover, you know, the EU is a awful organisation, you know,
Bendy bananas.
Jeremy Corbyn's a massive communist, and people read that one little snippet and go, yeah, I agree with that, because this newspaper's right.
My favourite thing about everything they do about Corbyn is like, he's a Marxist, he's a communist, he's a socialist. I'm like, these are, you know, different things.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, like, pick one.
I used to work in a little petrol station in Winchester when I was at university, and this bloke came in to buy the Sun, and the front cover had Corbyn on, and they called him a Marxist, and he went, yeah, that Corbyn is a Marxist. And I went, do you know what a Marxist is? And he went, communist. Massively different things. Like, and I just said, if you can explain Marxism to me, then fair enough. And he just didn't know, because he's read it. It's a buzzword. That communism, socialism, Marxism, they're buzzwords that people go bad.
Because the thing is, right, you all, like, there are different strands even of communism. Like, you have Maoism, which is different to Stalinism, which is different to Leninism.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, each person came up with their own variation, purely because once you rule a country or you're in charge of it, you can't stick to ideology. It doesn't work. That's something we learned with big up Pochettino Compton with the Netmen new economic policy, where he basically had to allow free marketeers to revive the farming industry,
Comben is an old history teacher we had, an absolute legend as well.
His name was Paul Comben, but we're like, he's too cool to have the name Paul.
Yeah.
So we called him Pochettino after Mauricio Pochettino, the great one.
Yeah, I do like Mauricio, bless him. But yeah,
I still respect him.
And like you said, like, yeah, there's different variants of every ideology. There's no flat rate. But I think our generation and the older generations, when we hear socialism, we think of different things.
Oh yeah.
Like, but our generation thinks of healthcare,
Norway,
of Norway, of great healthcare, of great education that values education, not just getting people ready
good
for
welfare
jobs.
System.
A great welfare system that invests in its people.
Redistribution.
Yeah, public transport that's got big investments that allows people to.
Norway got good public transport.
Yeah, Norway got good everything.
Have they?
What a country!
Are they just like you know, you get them stats on a game where it's like they just max out, like not the top, but they're like 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10.
Norway is. I haven't been, but I've had a few mates who have been religiously.
I know someone that went to Finland. I could ask her actually.
Lovely countries, but that's what when we hear socialism, we think of those things that are beneficial to everyone in society.
Yeah.
The older generation think of the USSR. They think of people dying.
I saw a tweet about that. It's so funny.
But it's a great comparison.
And like the thing with me is like we try and follow like the American kind of like system in some ways. I'm like, Norway are closer to us than America is.
Yeah.
And why are we trying to follow them when we have a better model that's over there? Do you see what I'm saying? And like these are the people, like working class people and lower middle class people. They're the ones who will lose out, because if we crash out, depending on who's in charge of the Bank of England, it could be very hazy. Like I think Mark Carney's been preparing for this for a long time, but he's leaving soon. And so you got interest rates will go up, and when interest rates go up, your mortgage price will go up, and if you can't afford your mortgage rates, your house is gone.
Yeah.
So that's one loser there. They're apparently going to try and edit the working times directive, so you can do more than 40 hours a week. So for now, you have the option, unless you're like self-employed or whatever, you can say I'm not going to do more than 40 hours a week. And so with less people within the system, they're going to need more people to cover these hours. Yeah. So your employer's going to be like, yeah, sorry mate, you're going to be doing another 8 hour on Sunday, and you're going to be like, bruh.
Yeah.
And interest rates go up. It's going to be a bit harder to travel. Anything we import, it's going to take longer to come through. So fresh fruit and stuff. So anything, I think in the winter, we do have a lot of vegetables and stuff like turnips and all the funny looking vegetables.
All the rubbish ones.
They put in a soup.
Yeah, and soup is not a meal. I'm going to come out there and say it.
I enjoy soup, but the thing is, like, I enjoy the Bengali soups more than I enjoy the English soups. No offence, but the Bengali.
I like how you think you've offended me because I'm English. It's like, he's saying stuff about my soups. I hate soup. I'll eat it, but
I don't mind it as much. But the thing is, like,
waste of calories.
Like, lentils. Like lentils are really nice, and you can have it plain. You can have it with rice, or you just with chapati or roti, or whichever part in Asia you're from.
Yeah.
With like English soups, I have them. I'm like, why? Like when I had, I can't remember. I tweeted it out a few years ago. It was like leek and potato soup. I'm like, this is a Brexit soup.
That is
leek
and potato is a Brexit soup.
And that's the stuff we're gonna be eating, because imports are gonna be more expensive.
Like if you had to define Brexit as a soup, it's that. It's like if you had to define Brexit as a footballer, Rory Delap.
You go Rory Delap
or Danny Murphy
and John Terry, without the class.
Yeah.
No, he has no class anyways.
No, he doesn't. Great player though. I won't say.
We need a player who like thinks he's better than he is and is a bit racist as well. That's the problem. There's the criteria there.
Graham Souness.
Wasn't he a good player?
He was, but it's just how, like, I imagine he's at home. He drops his plate on the floor. Bloody Paul Pogba.
We need to get onto this later.
He's too busy getting haircuts and dabbing.
He's like, I can see him dancing in front of me now because I dropped my plate.
I
remember I saw one like story when I was younger. I think in sixth form, right? That's a weird sentence to say. Where he goes, Churchill sees little red men walking around London because he's that scared of the USSR.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you Souness sees like little Paul Pogbas dancing around.
Just dabbing and he's like, oh god.
He's like, he sees Lingard as well. He's like, no, get away. He wakes up at night screaming.
Just nightmares of Paul Pogba doing a few dabs in front of him. Oh god.
Do you know what I mean? Because he had like a perm or something. He had some dodgy haircuts when he was
younger. North hair. Yeah, Graham Souness was a great player, and some of his punditry is actually like quite good. It's just, I guess we can come on to later, like the criticism.
I prefer Roy Keane. I like Roy Keane personally. Plus, cause he's hilarious. He's like, it's 2 yards, Gaddy. It's 2 yards.
This would be a hot take. Roy Keane was a bang average footballer.
Oh, mate.
He was only known for tackling people.
No, he was a class player. That's his problem was he was too violent. People associate him with, he's just that guy who kicks people. He's actually quite good.
His most famous moment was breaking someone's leg. That sums him up as a footballer. Roy Keane, you're overrated. But I do like your punditry though.
I personally think Paul Scholes is a great player. He's mostly known for the fact that he can't tackle. Like he'll just get yellow carded. And I
Have you
think that's the problem.
seen, not to plug another podcast, but that Peter Crouch podcast, which is actually quite good. Peter Crouch did a bit on like could Paul Scholes tackle, and he said because Paul Scholes' yellow card and red card ratio was really high,
Yeah.
and Peter Crouch was like, oh well, if someone goes hard on Paul Scholes, he'll go harder back on him, which is a good way to
Yeah.
just play football.
My personal favourite was Ronaldo. Is like, anyone tries to kick him, it's like, yeah, he'll leave his leg out there just so you can try again. And it's like, yeah, you feel like a big man now, innit? Oh, we need to get. There's a problem with football. It's too.
We're coming on to it.
We're coming. I guarantee you, by the time you have to go, be like, yeah, now the football segment starts.
That's fine.
And so like, I think if we go quickly, losers of Brexit will be working class people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to edit this massively.
To be fair, it's good to release it like
lower middle class people. It'll be kind of like, I think, they had not a recession in the 90s, but it was like when we crashed out of the currency regulator, I think in the EU, and then like that's the thing that helped New Labour out massively.
Yeah.
Because John Major just looked like he had no idea what he was doing, and so I think it'd be working class people, lower middle class people, maybe not middle class people, depending on savings, because I think
that'll be
thing
fine.
with class boundaries are you don't really know
where
the levels are.
Public services.
Public services will struggle. I think the NHS will struggle.
I think travel, like air companies, will struggle.
Less. I think English football teams will struggle because I did read one thing. Tifo. I see another good podcast. The Tifo Football Podcast is probably the best podcast when it comes to football, purely because you're guaranteed to learn something.
Yeah.
And Joe Devine's voice is just insanely good on audio. Like, I don't know how his voice is very good for audio. Where he just talked about, because the levels are going to decrease, it means that more English players might get a shot, but then because the standards aren't as high, it means that they won't be as good. Because when if it's me versus you, I have to compete with you at every level.
Yeah.
And I have to become better to compete. But if you're not there, if there's a lesser player or no one, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can doss about and I know I'll get a spot.
Yeah. Because that competition's gone. There's no need to be better.
Exactly, and there's a lot of foreign players. They bring their own the way they do things as well, and so I think it was what's it? Ian Wright, where he said that he never bothered taking the pills that Arsene Wenger told him to, and then he saw God, who was the Iceman? What was it?
Dennis Bergkamp.
That's the one. It just slipped my mind. I don't know how that's happened. Bergkamp would take all the protein pills and everything, and he's like, Dennis, do you have to take these? And it's like, yeah. He's like, yeah. It's like, and then Ian's like, oh.
Just like, oh, God, take them now.
It's like, oh, this bloody cod liver oil pill. So English football teams, I think, will struggle because we might get more players within the system, but they won't be as good.
No.
We'll be stuck with Declan Rice, greatest midfielder of all time.
Hey, I like Declan Rice, good little footballer.
He's not that great though, is he?
He's a good footballer.
He's not like in the upper tiers though.
No, but he's young. He's got time. Yeah. But what you mean? There's going to be less importing in of foreign talents, and
so you'll get a better shot. You just won't be as good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And so the winners, anyone who bets against the pound should do okay. I think when the government were basically told that you have to get I think it was one of the Brexit bills or something like that had to go through, one of the amendments, I think, or there was that big thing where they were like, we can just leave and screw you guys, and the judge was like, no.
Yeah.
You know the thing I'm talking about, right? I'll put it through in edits, hopefully. And so that caused the pound to go up, and then apparently people in the city lost a lot of money because they're all betting against the pound because they know something's going to happen. You also got rumours of insider trading going on, but I can't really go beyond that because you don't know what's said. So yeah, I think if you're betting against the pound, you should be a winner. It just depends, because the thing is, right, what they could do in the end is they could say, oh yeah, we're going out on no deal, and then at the last minute say, actually we're going to extend the transition period or do something else. Pound shoots back up, and if you knew that going in, then you can make a lot of money. Yeah,
there is money to be made getting it.
Also, I saw a hilarious article, I'm going to do a video on it, where basically one guy talks about how the banks can be protected. Yeah. And so he didn't use the word deregulation, but he said we can lower regulation. So you didn't see the deregulation, but he said, we can, not dilute it, not weaken. It was like, one of those ones where they say we can make businesses more efficient and all that sort of talk. Yeah. And I was like, you didn't use the word, big man, did you? You didn't use the word, because we knew what he's talking about. Yeah. When you say deregulation, make things more efficient, less red tape. Do you want to talk about less red tape? Let's talk about 2008. Let's talk about financial crash. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And so these guys, they don't use deregulation anymore. What they do is say, the burden of regulation, all the red tape and all that stuff. It's like, which ones though, big man?
But now red tape is like a buzzword. People go, the red tape of the EU. And it's like a little buzzword for everyone to hear, and they go, oh yeah, EU bad, red tape.
You know what I mean? Like, red tape sounds like a bad thing, but when that red tape's designed to protect you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we need laws to protect us, because some of these... Have you watched another great podcast, Joe Rogan's podcast, when he spoke with Dave Rubin. Well, he basically said that if these laws weren't in place, building contractors will do what they want.
Yeah.
And then Rubin was like, oh, no one's going to use a dodgy building contractor. It's like, yeah, it's great. You get something built in about 10 years' time, the goddamn building collapses.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The regulation is there to help just the common people. That's why it's there. If that's not there, then there's no people do what they want.
If proper regulations were carried on, Grenfell would never have happened.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of lives being saved there, and that's why we have red tape. But yeah, maybe it goes too far sometimes.
Even with Grenfell, something we still haven't learned from, something that still hasn't been addressed. And
that's a separate video, because they did say that anyone
who
testifies will be given immunity, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
It's like, I knew the cladding was illegal. I put it up there because it was cheap. Hi, you can't get me now.
Yeah.
Can't get me now, can you?
It's awful. People,
do you know what I mean?
There should be people who are locked up.
Because in America,
for a
they just
long
subpoena you. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know why we're giving these people like free reign.
Yeah.
And I think if we do deregulate, then it's going to be savage, because when the next crash hits, like, household debt is also already very high.
Yeah.
So when the next one hits, and it will happen, you see like, the stock market losing points left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
A possible recession happening, and in America especially. And what do we know? The golden rule is when America sneezes, the whole world catches a cold.
Yeah.
And China's becoming that soon as well, because they're the manufacturing superpower. And everything's going up in price. Anything like manufactured from China will go up in price.
China's been the sleeping dragon for the last few decades, but now it's really starting to kind of spread its wings. China is a massive player.
Stealth ways. I remember seeing a cartoon back in the day. Those old World War cartoons.
Yeah.
Where it basically said that Japan was cutting at China's tail. And I think it was like the US or like someone else in the picture saying, "Shh, don't wake up the sleeping giant."
Yeah.
Where as soon as China woke up with Mao, and they when the US signed that stupid deal, the free trade deal with China basically took on everything.
Yeah.
Manufacturing, they manufacture meds, cars, you name it. Like, it's there.
Yeah. And the debt that people owe China is huge. Like, China is the biggest world player right now. They hold virtually all the cards.
When you talk about dark horses, I think they are one of the big dark horses. So we'll go back to our second question: how the goalposts have been moved, with staying in the single market. How do you think that's happened?
Like I said earlier, I think it's all about the EU becoming like the bad guys in this. Like with the whole, I think the intent was just to pull us out entirely, and I think people voted to leave the European Union thinking that we'll still get a deal of some sort that will help trade, that will help human rights. But I think the people who, your Jacob Rees-Moggs, your Nigel Farage were like, yeah, we'll do that, no problems, and then went, yeah, we were just lying, by the way, which is not really a surprise, because I don't think Nigel Farage has told the truth in about probably his life. But I think that idea of making the European Union, they're the bad guys, they're the ones who are trying to, they don't want you to get your Independence Day, they want you to stay in the European Union forever. That they've made the bad guy, and people have gone, yeah, let's just get everyone out, let's just leave entirely, break off, and we'll start again. It's not going to work like that.
I think the main problem was that they said that we'll stay in the single market. No one really knew what the single market was.
No.
And then as soon as we left, we're like, oh, we don't want to stay in the single market, because we'll be like Norway, where they don't make the rules. And everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then everyone forgot what the guy said yesterday about staying in the single market.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the problems we had. The other one was that the EU they're not, they're going to play hardball with us, because they have to. Because at the end of the day, they're going to do trade deals with China, potentially. With India, that was happening until May was like, you want to do something with visas? Nah, get out of here. Insert Conor McGregor gif here.
I imagine the EU do want a decent deal with us, because
they have to, because
we are a big player.
Do you know what? I couldn't find the actual thing for this, but I remember learning in history class where before the Treaty of Versailles was, I think, even written, you had three major players, right? You had France, obviously the UK, and the US. The US didn't care as long as our empires got broken up, which is fine. France wanted Germany to get hammered, absolutely smashed.
Yeah.
And the UK were like, no, because we still need you as a trading partner.
Yeah, because the UK and Germany at that point did a lot of trade, and it was like, we know we've just gone to war, but we need you.
And the thing is, the EU really don't want us to tank, because we do buy a lot of stuff from them.
Yeah.
And the less we buy is, the less in jobs for, Spain for fruit, France for wine, and Germany for cars.
Yeah.
And so they do need us to get a good deal, but they won't put their project at detriment. It is the classic player think is too big for the club, because at the end of the day, if you give that player the contract that they want, if they give us the deal that they want, all the players within the club are going to start kicking off.
Yeah.
And they're going to start demanding more.
Yeah, exactly. If the UK gets a favourable deal, then that's not
favourable. We're talking about a deal where they give us something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Goods and services in at the detriment of we don't pay anything.
Yeah.
France will be like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, they're going to go, well, we want to leave. So the EU has to be conscious that they are going to make sure a deal doesn't, like you said, it doesn't affect their project of a long term, the goal of the EU staying as a big player. So they're not going to give us anything fantastic by any stretch, and I think that's what people have now criticised the EU for is, they've just chased themselves. Yeah, obviously, that's a big part of the world.
If they give us a deal, it'll be very similar to when Man United signed Sanchez on 400,000, and then every other player in the club was like, "Yo, we want more money, bro."
Yeah, exactly.
And then Edward was like, "What?"
Yeah, and you cave into one. Well, you cave into one country, the UK. You cave into one player, Alexis Sanchez. Then the rest of Europe, or the rest of the Man United team, are going to go, well, this is a problem. Why haven't we got more? We're bigger than them. We're better than them.
Like, bro, I've been here for time saving you, man. Give me the money.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just going to get more problems. So the European Union aren't...
Especially with France, if you get like not someone like Macron who wants more integration, not even Le Pen, someone who's maybe in between those two, who does not, is not skeptical of the EU project, but is someone who is like, they're there, we can use them as a resource. But we're France. We're the second biggest player now.
Someone who would be willing to take the risk of leaving. Germany as well. I'd like. Germany are a massive part of
Germany whatever leave.
No, I don't.
Because they benefit. Like they pay in the most, but they benefit massively because of the fact that they can export stuff and they do make the best stuff.
German products are very good, and Germany has a lot of foreign workers as well. So they get a lot of workers from around Europe. I know a lot of Latvians moved to Germany to live. A lot of Polish people, I think, moved to Germany as well. So Germany has a lot of EU migrants coming in to help work in those services.
German manufacturers. Like there's one guy. Obviously, this is going to be a thing where you have. There's a guy called De Bauer where he does like computer stuff, like high-end computer stuff, and he manufactures all this stuff within Germany. Partly because he can keep an eye on things, and partly because I think he's just one of those guys where he wants to keep it in-house in his own country and wherever. And so he just talks about how German manufacturing is the best. Like that's one of his selling points. Like it's made in Germany.
Yeah, and it is true. Like if you haven't been to Germany, go to Berlin, go to Munich, go to Cologne. Great country, great products, great people.
Watch out when you cross the roads in Berlin because those guys are savages. Like even as a red light, these men will like drive, and I'm just like, bruv, do you have no respect? They do not care. But no, the people in Germany are so nice as well. They're lovely people, nice people, always happy to help, and they speak better English than we do. So yeah, better English than we do, mate.
In girlish.
Yeah. So if we move on to our next question, where are all these trade deals coming from?
I think we kind of answered that. Nowhere.
It's not happening because like all these countries are waiting to see what we're like with the EU.
Well, making a deal with us is a massive risk because they don't know. Yeah, like I said, the deal we're getting with Europe, and also what's going to happen to our economy once we leave. And now with the coronavirus, there's so much doubt over the stock market that people don't want to take a risk of trading. They just want to keep it
in-house.
Simple.
Like, people want to make as much as they can within themselves.
Yeah.
And like, the thing was, the South Korea. Like, the thing is, like, I don't have the numbers in front of me, which I really should be more prepared for this. But the value of trade with the EU is about 50. I think just about 50% with us. Like totally, it's about half. Right. So if you say you cut that down to 30%, because all the checks and any tariffs that happen potentially on either side, right? You're gonna have to make up 20% somewhere, and a trade deal with the US won't do it. And the further out you go from England, like geographically, the more expensive it is to transport.
Yeah.
And we're a service-based economy. Like, you might get like the classic Nigerian prince. He might need a lawyer because he's violated some human rights or something. But how many people are there that are going to need these services? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we have very little to export. Like I said, we import cars, we import food, drink. There's very little we make.
I covered with the podcast with Georgia, to be fair, where I run down some of the things that we actually export and things like that, where we do some medicines where I think we make some of the medicines here, we export them into the EU because it's easier because we have everything set up, but we import more medicine from them.
Yeah.
And the argument of why don't we make it here is probably because it was easier just to leave over there, is cheaper.
Yeah.
Because building those big insulin factories is very expensive.
Well, to get stuff from Europe is cheaper than employing a British workforce in a British factory to make the British products. Like because British workers will demand more money.
It's not just the money, because you put money into the local economy. It's the fact that setting up a factory is just really expensive.
Yeah.
And like I talked about in my the video about the most recent one about cars, where what's it called, Brexit, the car edition or something like that.
Yeah.
Where basically I talked about like retooling a factory is very expensive.
Yeah.
And so like say you have an existing like medical factory now, right? To get it to make insulin, it's just really expensive. Like, I watch my boy Gamer's Nexus where he talks about this, where like if you say there's a factory that makes medicine now and you want to retool part of it to make insulin, So now that you're taking time out of that factory, say it makes something else, right?
Yeah.
You're taking time out of that factory, say it takes a year of making whatever medicine they make to make insulin, and then they've got to sell that as well. And so it might not just be worth their time.
Yeah.
I don't know the ins and outs of this. I'm not, I don't work within the pharmaceutical industry. But you got to imagine, like, setting up a factory is very expensive. Retooling a factory is very expensive as well.
If it was efficient for us to do so, we would have.
Yeah.
But we haven't.
We don't know efficiency in this country. The what's it called, the clock for the Olympics is stopped after a day. We were like, we tried turning it off and on again. I'm just like, damn you guys, like, that's really funny. And so we had Japan rumoured deal. I don't think that's going to happen because Japan they've gone very quiet on us. South Korea have gone very quiet on us. And these are big economies, but a very small amount of people.
Yeah.
And so how much scotch can they really buy? And that's until Scotland get independence as well. But like, how much stuff can we sell to them?
Exactly. And I think people are like, oh, we're getting these great trade deals, but we're not getting them with the big world players, which is the problem that we're having.
The other problem is, right, sorry for interrupting you again, but if you're trying to sell financial services to Korea or South Korea, obviously, not North Korea, you'd be a really dodgy character if you're trying to sell services to North Korea. Like, hey, Kim, mate, I've got a deal for you. And it's like, sorry, I don't speak English.
Kim, if you're listening, do some trade deals.
You have a massive language barrier as well. So if you want to sell, like, I don't know, say you got a legal team, right, and you want to sell your service to a Japanese firm that needs your expertise, right, you're only going to exist within them doing stuff within the UK. You're not going to be able to help them out because you don't know a Japanese player. Unless you know Japanese player, then fair enough.
Then fair play.
Then fair play. It's a very hard language. Written Japanese looks insane.
Oh, yeah.
But like, how many law firms have a person who speaks fluent Japanese?
And realistically, the Japanese population is very well educated anyway. So I would presume, I don't know, but a lot of the services that we can provide, like I said, I guess like lawyers are a big export we have, because obviously a lot of great universities in the UK. But I imagine Japan could replace that.
Yeah.
Like, they're a well-educated population. I imagine they could gear programs towards getting people into law, financial services, accountancy, stuff like that.
The other problem is a lot of countries try and protect their financial services. India's a big player in that, where it's very hard to export services into India because they're very protective of the service economy. Because that's how you get scammed, boy.
Yeah.
And like with manufacturers, like they make it so you have to manufacture a certain amount of, like the proxy phones within India. That's why Apple's always had a problem getting into the Indian market, and that's why powerful Android's always there, ready to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
Because you have to set up a factory within India, and so
India's very in-house.
How's that going to benefit us? Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to sell Rolls-Royce cars to India? Like, okay, set up a factory over here, and you're like, but why? We should make it here.
Yeah, we can just send it on a boat. It's like, no, we don't want it.
It's like, oh yeah, you're going to have to make your DB9s here. And it's like, well, it's not really an Aston Martin if it's not made in England, is it? It's like, I don't care about that player. I'm Modi.
But at least we've sold all our arms to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we do. That's the thing, though. We're going to pushing the arms to despots.
Well done to the Conservative government, and especially Theresa May for killing...
And Cameron.
And David Cameron, yeah.
Cameron sold snipers to Gaddafi. They're not defensive weapons at all.
Oh, no. So...
Dirty campers.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about you, Gaddafi, and the gang.
Yeah.
Even though you're dead. Dirty campers.
To be fair, wasn't Colonel Gaddafi like... Was he Libya? Libya.
Yeah.
He was like... His popularity in Libya was like... Obviously, from what I've seen, was really high. Like, he was... I think he had a lot going for him in Libya, and I think a lot of people were like, we kind of need to take him out.
I think the main problem with that is, like, Kim Jong-un is very popular in South Korea, in North Korea, not South Korea. No, sorry.
K-pop stands, please don't come for us in the comments. Don't send us gifs.
BTS gang, don't come after us.
Don't send us videos. It's all I see on Twitter is videos of... I don't know what they're called.
I see BTS, I'm just like, why are you here?
Like, again, like, we know you exist, K-pop stands. Just leave us alone.
Okay.
Let us enjoy.
All the minus 10 K-pop stands. But, like, he's very popular in North Korea. Because no one can say anything against him. Xi Jinping's very popular in China. No one can say anything against him, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they censored bad words. I remember reading an article. They censored the coronavirus in January, the word coronavirus, and they censored anything bad about Xi Jinping. So you have to put like C virus.
Yeah.
COVID-19. And then all you see is he left the chat. Like, what happened to him? Never to be seen again. And so these countries, like the US, have basically said, yeah, we did a trade deal with you. The ducked us and said we have to do it with the EU now because the last thing Trump wants is any kind of trade war because he's felt the heat. Like the US farmer's been decimated because of his trade war with China. And so no one wants a trade war. He don't want that smoke anymore because it's really messed him up with Republican partners. And so he does not want another trade war with the EU. So I think it's Mick Mulvaney. But the thing is, Mulvaney's out now. Yeah. So I don't know, like it's so fluid, like the US cabinet, because we don't know who the hell's there anymore.
Yeah, and we'll come on to the US in a little bit as well. We've got a bit of a question that could be the fascism comparison.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Not that we're calling Donald Trump a fascist. Just to clarify, we're not.
I am.
Madges, I'm not.
And so my point being is that
But we'll come on to that.
these countries aren't desperate to do deals with us because
No.
we're not a major player anymore.
And I have a bit of admiration for like a lot of UK pubs that are like, oh, we're going to make British wine, British champagne.
Can they make wine in this country?
You can, but it's very bad.
Well, why is it bad for?
It's just not nice. Like, when you think of wine, the great winemaking countries, France, Italy, even Australia make good wine. Like, it's climates that are geared towards winemaking. We are not.
It's natural, so like they grow the stuff, the vineyards naturally.
Yeah.
And like,
Well, I think you can plant them and stuff, but like I've had British wine. I'll be honest, it was terrible.
Ellis is not Muslim, by the way, so it's cool.
I'm not, no. But I'm a bit of a wine connoisseur. Not really. I just buy the cheapest one from Tesco. but I buy Australian because Australian wine. Shout out to Australia for the wine. But yeah, they're trying to put everything in house, but it doesn't work because we don't have the capacity.
You can't do it. It's like a lot of like. I think Hitler tried making everything in house.
Yeah.
He couldn't make rubber.
It doesn't work.
And rubber seems like so asinine. Like,
Yeah.
It just seems like a thing which I don't know how it comes into existence. It just feels like a thing that's there.
No,
Like,
no,
no
exactly.
one wonders how the bouncy ball was created. It
That's true.
just happened.
It was just a product.
Not modern ones now. They don't even bounce no more. But I'm talking about the ones in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Where like, I swear one guy he threw it on the floor quite hard. It went over my house. I'm like, how the hell does it even do that?
I think I threw one about 10 years ago. That's probably still coming down.
Do you know what I mean? That's probably in the stratosphere right now. Waiting down. But my point being is that like rubber's such a minor thing where no one really thinks about that. He couldn't make it.
Yeah, and that's a massive part of a lot like vehicles,
Exactly,
rubber.
that's one of the reasons why Hitler lost the country with bouncy balls at the Allies.
He couldn't. If he'd had a bouncy ball gun, I think they would have won.
Exactly. Those things hurt, man. You've got hit with a bouncy
Dude,
ball. Those things.
Yeah, someone threw a bouncy ball at me. I'd wave the white flag. I'd be like, no, I'm scared.
I'm done.
Just get me in a prison war camp. I'm finished.
I'm rage quitting, man.
I'm going home. F4.
And so the point being is that none of these countries are desperate. A, they don't know where we're going to be with the EU. B, they don't know if we're going to do deregulation or not, because that's going to affect them. So if they do a deal with services, say the US does it, and our regulations are crap, a lot of US firms will come here because we don't have any regulations. And the other problem they have is that a lot of firms are just setting up little subsidiaries in EU countries.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure like what that entails, but they're just setting up little groups within EU countries so they can circumvent any kind of tariffs or any kind of problems. And so I don't see in these countries, like if you think about we'll talk about the top 6 countries. So I don't know who number 7 is. I'm assuming it might be like India or something.
If I had to guess, yeah, something.
But I think India might have overtaken us. The former colony has come back, risen to take.
I can do some googling.
All right, cool. So we talk about the US. The US have said we're in second spot for a trade deal, right? Because they want to do a deal with the EU. It can't be number 1 out. Can't be number 2 China. You do a trade deal with them, our manufacturing is kaput completely. So you don't want to do a deal with them.
So I'm on the website is World Population Review. There's loads of stuff here. This is nominal GDP rankings by country, with the US in first with a GDP of 20.49 trillion. China in second, 13.4. Who do you think's in third?
Germany.
It's Japan.
Oh, it's Japan. Japan
4.97. Fourth is Germany, like I said, 4 trillion. The UK is in fifth, 2.83 trillion. France in sixth, 2.78. India in seventh with 2.72. Italy in eighth, which was quite surprising, 2.07. Ninth, Brazil.
Brazil, big country. They're one of the BRICS, to be fair.
It is a massive country. There's a lot of resources in Brazil as well. And 10th
screw
place,
Bolsonaro though. I hate that guy.
Screw Bolsonaro. If you're listening, come at me.
Yeah, we got free speech in this country, fool.
Yeah, you clown.
Exactly. We can say that here, but if you go to Brazil, like you're alright, you know.
And the Brazilian national team are rubbish now.
Yeah, have you seen them on FIFA?
You got nothing.
I don't know who half them men are.
They glitched.
All I see is Neymar.
And 10th place, have a guess who do you think's in 10th? Quite a big country.
Got no idea.
Part of the Commonwealth, I think. Canada.
Australia? Canada.
Canada.
Okay, yeah, Canada are big.
It is a massive country, to be fair to Canada, and a great country at that.
Take a lot of his ice. But my point being is that, let me have a quick look at that list, sorry.
Oh, I'll just close it down.
Oh, my bad.
Let me get it up.
Edit in post.
So,
if we run through this list, and then we'll talk about, like, can we actually get trade deals with these countries, right? And some of them have already spoken.
Goes down further.
So the US supports on the back burner, so we're potentially behind the EU, but he's also doing stuff with China. And he's going to be very busy because the re-election's coming up. So we don't know if it could be Joseph Biden, Donald Trump, or hopefully Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, feel the burn.
Come on, man.
Bernie,
And
we're
so
rooting
the
for you in
US
the UK, my guy.
Yeah, my guy, bruv. Rooting for the boy. So if we say we're in third spot for that deal because of the EU and China, right? So we're number 3.
Yeah.
China, economy will get decimated.
Yeah.
And China, I'm not sure what they're doing trade-wise anyways. I don't know what's going on with President Xi. Japan, that deal's gone very cold.
Yep.
There's no mention of it. And if there's no speculation of it, it's not going to happen. Germany, they're in the EU, so they're out.
Yep.
India, we were going to do the EU were going to do a trade deal with them, but then they wanted not restrictions, the opposite of restrictions. They wanted sort of visas to be easier to get. Like my English has been atrocious today, but you see the point I'm making with students and stuff. Theresa May was like, "Hey, Indians are brown people, right?" It's like, no, hey, we owned your country. After that, it's. No, we're below India, yeah.
Yeah, we're below. I think they're 4th, we're 5th or something like that.
We're below by 1 trillion.
I just said the list and I can't remember it.
So the UK, so obviously we can do trade with ourselves. But,
we can, yeah.
France, they're in the EU, so they're out.
Yeah.
Italy, also out. Brazil, I'm not sure about, but they're very far away. So, there's a limited amount of trade you can do.
I'm not sure on Brazil's trade policy.
And plus, I don't want to deal with them. Oh, but they did. What's it called? Their trading block that they're in, the Latin American countries, they're in trading blocks like Mercosur, something like that. It's got a really cool name.
Okay.
And they've recently come to do a deal with the EU, and so they're going to struggle. That block is going to struggle to do a deal with us because they have a deal with the EU, and it took about 7 years.
Yeah.
We seem to be the golden number 4 trade deals. Like, I cannot do a deal with you until 6 years have passed. And then obviously we've got Canada. Canada have said no. Canada have a deal with the EU. We wanted the same terms. Canada was like, bro, you've seen their population, you've seen yours.
Yeah.
Sit down. And you got South Korea, who any talk of that deal's gone cold.
They're in 11th as well, yeah.
Russia,
12th place.
I'm not sure if we're going to do a deal with Russia, especially because we're very. If we do any kind of deal with Russia, we won't be able to do any deal with the US. Yeah. Because we were the ones forcing the EU to be very anti-Russian over the whole Crimea thing. And that's what really tanked Germany as well a few years ago.
Yeah.
Where Germany was like, no, not do any kind of trade with Russia. And then we got España, or do you remember when also Ashley Cole had to read it off the paper? Do you see that when they drew the thing? Oh, it's hilarious. I'll try and find that clip and I'll put it in. He's like, España is like Espanol or something like that. It's so funny.
Ashley Cole,
he's like, we've all been there. And then you've got Spain, also in the
EU.
Australia, and then we'll leave it at Mexico. Actually, the Netherlands are, I think the top 20 as well, they're out.
Great country as well.
Saudi Arabia up there, boo.
Yeah, boo Saudi Arabia.
Quite a lot of EU countries up here, which is no surprise really.
No.
It shouldn't be. Switzerland, Switzerland aren't an EU country.
But they're like...
in the customs union.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah,
they're in one where they have freedom of movement, but I think their lorries still get checked.
Yeah.
Sweden are here, Belgium, Thailand. I don't know. Thailand, that's interesting. We'll leave it there anyways before I look through it. Hey, how are Iran up here? What the hell?
Hey, the list is done.
Iran up there, they've been putting the trade block for years.
Below Nigeria and Argentina though, so.
Yeah, true so. The Argentinian economy is a mess.
Because Lionel Messi's been rubbish recently. Tanked.
It's not because of Messi, but yeah. Messi nutmegging taxes.
Well, he hasn't paid them for a long time, so
he's like, yo, I'll pay my taxes, yeah, but you gotta get the ball off me. The tax man's like, no, I'm going home. I'll see you later. And so look, all these countries, it's just not happening. It's just not happening. So we'll go to the next one. So the 2019 election, you know which one I'm talking about, obviously.
Yeah.
So your reaction and thoughts on that one?
What a stinker.
Absolutely
that was the one that hurt the most, I think.
Do you know what it is? It's literally like, in De Gea can see that goal with Everton where he's about to boot the ball out, it hits freaking Calvert-Lewin. That's what election felt like, because A, he didn't have to do that. B, he took ages, and C, he just kicked the ball out of the guy. That's what it felt like everyone collectively did. When the Lib Dems were like, what's her name? Jo
Swinson.
She's like, I've got momentum. I've got all these Labour guys joining me.
Jo, if you're listening,
you're an idiot.
You're a clown as well. You can go in the list of clowns. I've never liked Jo
Top
Swinson.
10 clowns.
Top 10 clowns.
I've never liked it either. I didn't like Ed Davey. Ed Davey's a snake as well.
Yeah. No.
I think it's Ed Davey. He's the second guy, wasn't he?
I think so.
He's the energy guy.
Most of the people in the Lib Dems are clowns. Not the people who vote for them. I appreciate what you're trying to vote for. But people in the Lib Dem party, some of you were clowns.
I got really annoyed because both parties should have come together and said, look,
yes.
We're not going to run candidates in these places because it's going to take votes from each other. And then everyone's like, same prideful, yeah, I'm going to run here and you run here, fine. And then we didn't win because they could have took out Dominic Raab, which would have been massive one because I hate that guy. He hates the human rights. He hates economic rights.
Yeah.
He's such a tool.
Another one, Dominic, if you're listening, you're a clown as well, and I'd
don't come on the show, mate. Because I just end up just thinking like, look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna deck the guy.
Yeah, don't come on because you are a truly vile.
You know, don't mean to rub it in, mate, but you're
I mean,
a massive tool.
you were trying to claim back fees for the Harry Dunn case from the family, so you can.
Yeah, get off. So stay out of this town, man.
Yeah, don't come round here, Dominic.
Don't come round here, mate.
I won't swear, but I'm thinking of a swear word about you.
You are
Dominic.
nothing. You're a fool, and you're a waste of time. Good night. You know, we're in the we're not in afternoon yet. But
Yeah, the time
we're going strong.
It's actually 11:47 a.m. on a Saturday.
We're going strong. So yeah, what are your thoughts, go on?
Yeah, very upset because I was one of the very few people that thought Labour weren't going to win, and I think a lot of people on Twitter were like, "Oh, look at the polling, Labour are just close. We could get a hung parliament." I was hoping for it, but the whole time I was like, "I don't think we're going to get it."
In fairness, you said on Twitter, I said it could be a hung parliament. You said I'm seeing a Tory majority, and I was like, where are you seeing these things at? I was so confused. He's right. Ellis was right.
A lot of people, like Labour activists on Twitter and people who support the party were. I said I think it will be a Conservative majority. A lot of people were like, "Oh, you know nothing about politics. You're stupid. It's going to be a hung parliament."
Yo, did you tweet them people back?
No,
I would have done. I would have been like, delete your tweet, brother.
I was tempted, but I was a bit upset. But people were so clouded in their judgment of seeing certain.
Got my hand to my ear, like.
a prime Jose.
Yeah, that's the one.
I think people were so like, we're gonna seeing all these stats on Twitter, and I was like, you're not seeing. I didn't door knock, but I heard a lot of people who did do door knocking.
I did a few for Salah, yeah.
I saw a lot of people who were door knocking say people were just not voting Labour because people didn't like Jeremy Corbyn, and people. I love you, Jezza, by the way. I'm a big fan of Jeremy Corbyn. Not that I think like we should stick with him now. We need him.
No, he's done.
Yeah,
he lost on the spin.
Yeah,
it's untenable now, and like he said, he'll stand down. Like Ed Miliband had one.
Yeah.
But he had 5 years. And so I think the rule is, you get one election, or because if you have two, that's just 10 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's too long.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jeremy Corbyn, a great person who I've met, but again, like the time is kind of come to move on to pastures new. But I think a lot of people who were door knocking said that people just weren't voting because they disliked Jeremy Corbyn for whatever reason, and because people just wanted to leave the European Union, they just wanted out.
Yeah, because it's just dragged on, and the thing is, like, yeah, it's dragged on, but at the same time, you don't want it to end badly.
No, I think people have this whole, let's just leave and get it done with. It's not that easy, and it's also not safe for us to just leave the European Union because we will be, as a country, ruined.
There's some sharks in those trade negotiations, and we haven't done a negotiation for a while.
And people will just, if we just left the European Union, people, big countries will go, they need to trade with us, and they hold zero cards.
Do you know what it is? My personal favourite thing is I looked up this thing recently, where you know all the arguments have where they say we need them more than they need us they need us more than we need them because we import more stuff, right? With the US, we export more stuff than they sell to us.
Yeah.
Mainly Worcestershire sauce, to be fair, and that's how you pronounce it if you're in the US. By the way,
yeah,
it's not
Worcestershire.
It's Worcestershire.
Worcestershire sauce.
The crisp tastes horrible. I don't know why you guys.
Really?
Don't
I love the crisp.
I've never liked them.
Oh.
It tastes weird and they smell funny as well.
See, I like that though, but
do you?
Again,
do you like salt and vinegar?
No, too hard on the lips.
I was gonna say.
I like salt and vinegar on my chips, but the crisps, like you have a little cut on your lip and you eat salt and vinegar, you are done for.
If you have I used to have sour sweets.
Oh,
we eat too
horrible.
many sour sweets, and you get the cut. That and the salt and vinegar quavers, they're the worst. They will cut you.
If you eat sour sweets, I'll say this now, you are a clown as well. Join the list.
I'm on the list, lads. I made it.
Why would you ruin a perfectly good sweet and make it sour?
The thing is, I really like sour stuff, like the sour oranges, not the mega sour, not the ones I like.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy I'm trying to move on to eating oranges instead of eating sweets. The thing is, oranges just don't last long enough.
No.
That's the problem.
I'm not a big fan of an orange, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
I love orange juice. I like orange flavour stuff, but I'm just orange chocolate. I love, but
that's how you avoid scurvy, man.
Is it? Well, I don't think scurvy's pretty much of a problem.
You never know. If you go on the open seas anytime soon,
that is true.
Scurvy could be a problem.
That is true.
You're going to regret not taking them oranges. But then I'm going to be like, they're all rotten anyway. Been in the barrel for a week.
Because no one's picked them.
Yeah, so if we go back to the election, this problem with me talking to you, man, we just go off.
Yeah, but that's what a podcast is all about, isn't it? Like, it's just about making a point, going
rambling conversation.
Yeah, this is just the ramble.
So your thoughts on it? Like, obviously heartbreak,
despair, sadness. I think at that point I kind of realised that democracy had kind of died. Like that election was bought.
There's going to do some court reforms, and the thing is, like, we'll go on to why people vote against their best interests soon, because I feel like that's probably the second most important question here.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the most important question. But at the same time, like, these guys, they're not going to look out for you. They're going to do a lot of things that are going to hurt a lot of working people. it's just gonna be savage. Like that's what's gonna happen here.
Yeah.
And if we leave on no deal, it's gonna spike interest rates, regardless of, even if things go back to where we are now. Not trade wise, but if we crash out, interest rates go up, people are gonna lose their houses very quickly. You could lose your job potentially very quickly, depending on which sector you work in.
Yeah.
And local economies will get decimated. A factory that closes doesn't just impact the people that work at the factory; it impacts a lot of people within the community, because you got to think, like, you have less money to spend now. You have less disposable income. Momentum did a really good video on it, where they talk about how teachers' pay cuts affects potentially a lot of people.
Yeah.
Where, like, you're less money to go out to the restaurant that you normally go to. They have less money. They can't hire people.
It's a knock-on effect that people don't realise. The domino effect is awful.
It's the reverse of Reaganomics. Or Reaganomics, you think it's going to trickle down, it doesn't. But so I dubbed it offshore economics, where you give money to poorer people, like through a UBI or something like that, and then you got money to spend. You can do renovations, and so you can improve your living standards. But because you've got money that you want to spend, so long as the economy is not precarious enough where you have to put it in savings. But even if you put the money in savings, then at least you don't lose your house. So it still benefits people.
And the idea of like a universal basic income ties quite well with like Keynesian economics of investment in public services, because if you give people the opportunity to get a quicker bus to work, just better train services.
Buses in Northampton are a joke, by the way. That's
they're not great. And
shambles.
And you give people that along with a universal basic income, or even just higher wages, people will have the ability, instead of I've got to wait an hour to get a bus to the town centre. People will have that opportunity to get to town quickly, to invest their money in local economy. They can go to local shops, they can go to local food areas, and they can invest back into the economy because they have the disposable income to do so. Now, people have no disposable income, and it has a knock-on effect to the town. We live in Northampton, my God, like, the town centre is...
Don't visit. If you don't live in Northampton, just don't bother.
It's a shame, because it has so much potential to be a great place, Northampton. And it has just been decimated by austerity.
The thing is, like, they were going to build an IKEA here, and like, the council said, no. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
The amount of people coming from Northamptonshire, would come here instead of going to MK.
Yeah.
And then you keep people here, like, maybe they buy the food in IKEA. IKEA sell food, right?
They do.
Or they might go somewhere else nearby to get food.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just thinking, like...
So many places are closing as well. Rent controls in Northampton are so high to rent like a public space.
And literally, I think it's called the Bird Walk or something like that in town. Where it's like,
the Bird Walk,
a place with like a load of rundown shops, and there's like a place that sells really nice like Chinese things, I think, and it's just never open. I'm just like, why?
Yeah, because people just can't afford it, and it's a shame.
It's not that. It's the shop always closed. I'm thinking like, why is the shop always shut? And like, why has it not been replaced? That place has been empty for like 7 years. Like, the only reason I walk through it is to get out of the rain.
Yeah, literally. And you see like our Marks and Spencer's closed down. That was a massive unit gone, and now it's just
BHS. But that was like a regional thing as well.
But obviously that closed nationally, but like that area is huge in the town centre, and it's just empty. And the town is just so grey and
dull,
drab. Yeah,
full of bad singers.
Yes, a lot of bad singers.
Some
are very good.
Caden, I dubbed him Bad Singer Guy. He was just terrible.
Like the town with the geographic location Northampton has so much potential, but Tory austerity has killed this town.
We're right by Birmingham. We're right by Milton Keynes, and we're right by London.
Yeah, we're in a great spot, and you've got great links to go to the north, to the south, the east, and west. But the town has just been.
They've renovated the train station. The train station is a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
Bus station. This is the genius of the Northampton Council, right? You've got this
which I do work for, but not in that department.
It's conflict of interest. That's why I didn't want to ask you any real council questions, because I didn't want anything to happen. But I guess everyone says it. I'll say it, and this is out of this one. Right. We had a big bus station, the Greyfriars, right? And I'll put a picture up. Some guy who sat at the entrance, stood at the entrance, goes, "This is like the mouth to hell." I'm like, at least it works, man.
It was a very
ugly,
horrible looking building.
Cold.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Scary.
Grey. Asbestos.
Yeah. but it did a great job as a bus station.
They had about 3 or 4 lanes.
And it was massive.
And like now, they put it into a new bus station, which is tiny. The buses, because they only have like 1 lane. So if someone else takes your lane for a reason, you'll go to a different one. And I'm like, where's my bus? And he's like on the outside. I'm like, why?
Why's he doing that? Yeah.
And like, then they've used the Drapery, which is like another road, like a high street road. They've used that basically as a second bus station, because half the buses go down there.
And the Drapery is always busy.
Like, it's very narrow.
Yeah, very, very small.
Very narrow. It wasn't designed for that, and the fact that pollution's gone way up in that area because there's 3 goddamn traffic lights outside the bus station.
Yeah.
For one thing, and the buses only have 1 entrance, 1 exit.
Yeah, you get one way in, one way out.
And the thing is, with the old bus station, I think you had about 3. There were 3 lanes. I think it was huge. I didn't realise until you see that plot of land, and like that's the genius of the council. And so like, not Ellis' department. And so like, yeah, that's just. There's no thought for practical planning in this country. I think that's a real problem. With HS2, I think they're only cutting about 20 minutes off certain commutes anyways, which is a lot in the long term. But then how much is it going to cost to get one of these nice high-speed trains?
But I think with HS2, like, a lot of the time it takes to get from one place to another isn't really the problem. It's the fact that
no seats.
You're not guaranteed a seat. You're also paying a ridiculous fare cost. Like, that's the problem people are having. They don't want a faster train. The train is more than quick enough as it is. That's not a problem. They just want bigger trains. They want better equipped trains, more carriages, nicer seats.
Wi-Fi. Give me Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and not this Wi-Fi they have now. It doesn't work.
I want
Get
free Wi-Fi.
Free, good Wi-Fi. Because the Wi-Fi they have now is atrocious.
I want to go on YouTube whilst I'm on my train journey.
Yeah, I don't know, is it London Midwestern it's called now? It used to be London Midland, but it's changed name. They're always like, our Wi-Fi, you can stream these shows. No, you can't, you clown. I have to download them on Netflix or Amazon Prime.
It's not.
And then I have to watch them like that.
I was on YouTube on 44p.
God.
And then the worst thing is, right, the train that goes to the West Midlands, right, it's where my nan lives, big up Kidderminster.
Kidderminster.
Such a whack place. Kidderminster Harriers, though.
Yeah, used to be a good little team.
There's no Wi-Fi on that train.
Yeah.
So I'm going from Wi-Fi to no Wi-Fi. I'm like, why?
So I don't know if the train that goes from, where does it go? Nottingham to Lincoln, I think it goes. It's like the size of a bus, but it's a train.
It goes backwards, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Train. Yeah, that's weird.
And it's tiny. You can fit about 40 people on it.
Oh, you know what? When I went to visit Canaan once, I think I got there and it was just packed out. I literally had to sit on my suitcase.
Yeah, and that train is awful. I'm thinking, how are people paying for this? Like,
because you have to, you?
Yeah,
buses
and that's the thing with privatised trains is that there's no need for them to improve because there's no other services.
This is the most ridiculous thing, right? And maybe you've discussed this many times. The train from Northampton to Leicester is 1 hour and a half, stops in Rugby, and then you have to get off to Nuneaton, is it not?
It's Nuneaton, yeah, I think it's Nuneaton.
Where's it go from Northampton to Nuneaton?
When we got it, we went to Rugby because we had to stop at Rugby because we played Mario Kart for about 40 minutes. It was about half an hour we had.
That was great. To be fair, I didn't love waiting, but I did enjoy playing Mario Kart.
Yeah, Leicester.
And Ellis won somehow.
I'll look on train. I'm a good player at Mario Kart.
He's a dark horse in his Mario Kart. Don't play him. Don't ever play him at Mario Kart. He bodied me. I think he had me with some shells.
But I'll look on train on now. So, but we went from Northampton to Rugby, which is about 20 minutes, I think it is, or something like that. It's quite short. We had about a half an hour wait, so yeah, we had a quick game of Mario Kart.
Oh, is that because that douchebag train driver? That was it. Because the train driver was late, and we missed our second train.
Yeah, we were there on time.
That was it. Yeah, because the guy was eating his lunch or something.
Yeah,
I remember that.
So Northampton to Leicester. Let's have a look. I think ours was a little bit longer than this. So it's normally 2 changes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you go from Northampton to Rugby. Sorry, I'm looking at London News. No, I'm not. The train line apps need to sort themselves out. Northampton to Rugby, which is about 22 minutes. Then you have to wait at Rugby to go to Nuneaton, which is 12 minutes. And then you have to go from Nuneaton to Leicester, which is nearly an hour.
Well, you have to wait. How long the train takes?
Yeah, that's how long the train takes. That doesn't even count in waiting times, which, to be fair, shouldn't be too long. But if you're waiting kind of 10-15 minutes, that's a lot of time.
Alright, and so get this right. So you have to wait for how long is the train? About an hour and a half.
About hour and a half, hour 40.
Alright, so if you go to the Wellingborough train station, which is a bit further up, but if you got a car, it's fine. It takes half an hour to go to Leicester. That's how much of a joke the train lines are in this country. Where if you drive to a second train station, that's not that much further out. Because if you drive to town, you get caught in traffic.
Yeah.
Really bad traffic as well.
If you go to like Lincoln and stuff.
Yeah, and so it's way easier to go to Wellingborough, half an hour train, and it's cheaper.
Well, Northampton, because we got a train from, Northampton to Lincoln because the Wellingborough train service wasn't in service that weekend. The one from Wellingborough to Lincoln wasn't in service, so we had to go to Northampton. Yeah, which fair enough. So Madge, a friend, and I, we got the train from Northampton.
Tom Whelan,
big up Tom Whelan.
The legal agent.
Yeah. So we went from Northampton to Lincoln, and that was, I think it took us nearly 4 hours.
Oh my god, yeah.
And it was
the mighty Spud.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And we were just we were reading our books. We were chatting.
It was a Sunday, to be fair. I think
because we went on the Saturday and came back on the Sunday, and I just remember the way there took about 4 hours. You go from Wellingborough to get to Lincoln's about 2 hours, I think it takes. So
yeah,
you're
because the main because where did we went to? We went to Nottingham, didn't we?
yeah.
And then the Nottingham train goes for Leicester, doesn't it? I think it does. I think it goes to Leicester. Yes. There is a train that goes from Leicester to Nottingham.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that must have been the route we went on. And so it was just a nightmare.
Yeah,
It just took us forever.
we got to Leicester and then went to Nottingham, and then we got another train from Nottingham up to Lincoln, and that was a horrible journey.
And like they're just not getting fixed. I get train lines are hard to do because of the costs and stuff like that, but like the fact that that's been like that for so long, and the fact that no one's really bothered to do a lot, like it's just frustrating. And like Johnson did promise like a Northern Powerhouse HS2. HS2 is going to cost a massive amount.
Oh, it already has.
Yeah, it has. It's not much been built yet. And I just don't know like if it's worth it. And he's talking about bringing back rural buses, and he's made a lot of like spending promises. You know, the right wing populist is taking some left wing ideals of spending and promising that. And so, you know, that's the main problem that a lot of people had is you're going to have to raise taxes or borrowing to do this. Like, we're not going to do that. And he's like, so how are you going to pay for it? And he's like, money?
Yeah.
No, he's like, how are you going to pay for it? Yes. Do you know what I mean?
But if Boris Johnson, the media won't really question it
And
because
the other problem is like he's like one of those guys where he'll say something and he'll expect other people to do it, very Trump-like in that fashion.
yeah,
And so like with the election, like we've elected the Clown Prince, and so with that, like he pushed Javid out because he wanted Javid to have like their own set. Johnson's advisors basically in there,
yeah,
and like no one does that. Like I can't use the word that I want to use for this, but yeah, I know I might have used my original video, but yeah, he's basically saying like you're going to take orders from me directly now, when no Chancellor's ever had to put up with that before. Even Brown and Blair did have some minor arguments.
yeah. Well, Chancellor is a very like
Second highest position. You know, Priti Patel, bullying, all that sort of stuff. I guess it's kind of relevant now, anyways. They're talking about that here because I don't think I've got it in any other questions. But like, you know, Patel's a bully.
I know. Well, she's a witch. I think that's a fair
what's
comment.
called the Salem witch trials or something like that?
Yeah,
Salem witch trials.
She's just an awful human. Like she's vile.
Pushed out a senior civil servant. He's been there for years. He's been doing this before we were politically active.
Yeah.
Like that's how long like he's been doing this for.
And she's just a horrible.
She's pushing him out. She's had complaints from I think she's at the DWP. She got complaints from there. She got complaints from another department she worked in, and she's got complaints now. What are the three things in common there?
Yeah.
Between those three departments, it's her.
Yeah.
You know, these people pop with Theresa May, the bloody difficult woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, how bad do you have to be worse than the lady who calls herself a bloody difficult woman?
And turned out to not be very difficult.
She was very difficult.
Well, to push out, yeah.
I mean, they basically said that, and we're not going to agree to your plan. And she's like, "Oh, right, I guess that means I'm done." And yeah, sorry, Theresa. And she's like, "Oh, I guess
that's me done."
Dave, I'm joining the list of prime ministers who basically got stabbed in the back.
Yeah, it's a long list of Conservative ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Didn't Priti Patel?
It's like a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is.
Say it 10 times.
Oh, she'll. It's like Bloody Mary. You say it, she'll just put behind you.
She appears. Yeah, go
Awful woman. Didn't she like get kicked out of a certain role for like almost treason? Like,
yeah, she did like some sort of secret meeting with Israel, and Theresa May was like, "You did what now?" She's like, "Yeah."
she should be behind bars. Like,
I don't think it was like massively that bad, but it did. I think the optics were really bad.
yeah,
The optics were really bad. I think that's the main problem. And
I don't like her.
we don't know what happened because it's a secret meeting, which it should be illegal in itself because you're a minister. You work for the government, not you know. What I mean?
think
May didn't send you there. You weren't there yourself.
a lot of politicians don't really realise that they are elected public officials. It's like
they think they're there by rite of passage.
Yeah.
Like, you know the divine right of kings.
Yeah,
that's what some of these people think.
That is
have.
a lot of
Like,
politicians
I didn't,
from
I
all
came
parties.
Here, I came here because of the merit of my merit, not
Yeah.
because people put me here.
Yeah,
I deserve to be here.
yeah, and that's. I guess we'll kind of come on to like because we're going to look at the Labour lead, and I guess we'll have a little chat about the deputy as well. But that's why I like Angela Rayner so much. Someone who kind of pulled herself up and
So did Long Bailey as well.
Oh yeah.
And I guarantee I'll get those two mixed up somehow.
He always does. No, we'll obviously kind of chat.
Yeah, my laptop's turning into a jet engine now. If you can hear the fan, I'm really sorry. I'll move my mic out of the way.
A little bit further to me as well.
And so yeah, I'm really sorry about
Hopefully
that. It can't be helped. But yeah, point.
Yeah,
point
we're on a bit of a budget setup right here.
Ghetto, bruv.
But a professional podcast.
Yeah, you know, two professional guests, or one professional guest and one professional producer. Producer match.
Yep.
Editor Madge, producer Madge,
editor,
big
producer,
Madge.
and I'm just here for the
Dance.
pretty much, yeah.
To be fair, it's been fun so far. It's just, you know what I mean, like, time is the problem, do you know what I mean? Well, we do this all day.
We may have to run through, kind of miss a few questions off, like.
Yeah. So yeah, you know what I mean, like, we'll go on to the Clown Prince now. We'll go on to Johnson, because we talk about election thoughts, like, it's pretty heartbreaking, to be honest. I thought we'd do a lot better.
Boris Johnson's electoral victory was a symbol of the racism, xenophobic tendencies and just ignorance that exists still in British society. I'm not calling people racist, xenophobic, and ignorant. There are a lot,
bias.
yeah, but there are a lot of people in British society who are racist, xenophobic, and I can't remember the word I said, racist.
That City fan who was, you know, had an abuse at Fred, and someone else that was I don't know if it was Martial, I can't remember who it was. And like, you see it a lot more in football now, which is terrifying, because like, these guys will do it in public, like, no shame.
It's become a lot more normalised to be racist, xenophobic, blah blah blah, because our elected officials are now doing it, because people of power are acting like that they are normalising racism, that people in society will just do the same, and it's only a matter of time before this rhetoric will continue, and we'll start to see some horrible, you know, crimes.
Once to reform the judiciary, that's, do you know what I mean, that's some authoritarian stuff right there. You know, wants to make it to the US system. The US system's a joke. You have Brett Kavanaugh, and I don't know if I did a video on him or not, but this man, like, bruv, he's got that crying face on it. He's like 4-year-old. His lolly's been nicked by his mum or something.
But he's a person who has had everything in life handed to him. Like, he's had the
he got
best
into Yale
education.
because I think it was Yale because he's like, dad went there.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of elites in the UK and the US have, is that it's like a family right that people, my dad went there and his dad went there, so I deserve to be here. I'm better than you because
Kavanaugh.
Yeah, and like I said, divine right of kings. It's just people think they have that right.
This man, like, forget just the allegations against him, right? He's just, his voting record is not the best. His judge record is not the best. There were, like, I think reports that he had leaked emails from, you know, some the Democrats in 2004, and then he denied having them, even though it was clearly him.
Yeah.
And he
just a horrible.
Gorsuch. I think Gorsuch was another one where he basically, there was a case of a guy who, he was like, I think his truck, something happened to his lorry, and it got stuck in the snow, and basically he had to leave the truck because he would have died. And all the other judges were like, yeah, this man deserves some sort of compensation. Yeah. And Gorsuch was like, ha, no. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of guy I think Gorsuch is. And, you know, Trump has picked them two. Gorsuch, who one of my lecturers respect as an intellectual, I don't, because I think he's a scumbag.
Yeah.
And you have Brett Kavanaugh, who's, no, just
an awful person. And going back to Boris Johnson, I think, I won't beat around the bush and say that I don't like the man. I think he's an absolutely abhorrent human being.
Also, Stormzy doesn't like the man either. Yeah. Stormzy also doesn't like a few people. But
that's true. But an awful person who believes that he is better than the working class man. He has said that.
He has said that, yeah. He's said some horrible things.
His dad said that. And Boris Johnson is not your friend. You have more in common than an EU worker coming into work as a nurse than you do with Boris Johnson.
Carla, mate. You know Carla the rapper?
Yeah.
He's brilliant. And he's talking about how, you know, white working class people have a lot more in common with working class immigrants than they ever had with, you know, aristocrats or, you know, the rich. Because class solidarity is far more powerful.
Yeah. If you haven't done the political compass, do it. It's a very good little quiz.
I'll try and link it below.
Yeah, it's a very good quiz. I've done it a few times just to kind of keep track. There is a question that says we are more divided by nationality than we are by class, or something along those lines. And we are divided more by class than nationality.
Because historically, there's a lot of racism there, but it's always been classist. You know, you know when we had workhouses, where basically they put people that were poor and, you know, didn't have a job or whatever, they put them into these workhouses because they thought these people were just work shy.
Yeah.
And so what happened was they didn't want people who, like, they called them deserving poor, you know, widows, orphans, and those sorts of people, old people, into workhouses because they thought that, you know, they've had a hard life. You know, it's not their fault, the circumstances. But who are the people predominantly in those workhouses? Old people who couldn't work because they're old. Yeah. Widows who were poor because the breadwinner is dead, or divorce. Of you widows, that means the breadwinner is divorced. Women didn't typically go to work back then.
Yeah.
Orphans, your parents are dead. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're a 12-year-old, you know, you get put in a factory. Not the best situation. You're not going to be able to get out of that either.
Yeah.
That's why we stopped child labour. because it's more important that kids go to school. It's more important for them as people to go to school and actually get an education, and also for the economy as well. Because you've got kids who can't read or write. Do you know what I mean? There's only so long you can be digging bits of cotton out of dark places. You see what I'm saying? And you can't do that now. Those things don't exist, and that's why as a society, I think we came together and said education's important.
Yeah, and my advice to anyone is show solidarity with people around you. Don't look at people like Boris Johnson and Jacob Rees-Mogg and think that they're your friend.
Well, the other problem is I think people always think that they're only a few moves away from being rich, or
You are a lot closer to being in absolute poverty than you are to being a millionaire.
Normally, you're about 4 paychecks away from being homeless.
Yeah, never forget that. And when you look at people like Boris Johnson saying we must come together, he is not we.
He's not with that. And when Cameron was talking about how we have to all tighten our belts, it's like my guy was eating like filet mignon and all that cool stuff.
He is not going to tighten his belt with us. The people around you, the people who are sitting at working with you on the same wages, people who are doing the cleaning, doing the cooking, people that work at your local pub, they're the ones who are on your side, not the people who are in charge of incompetent government.
So I think that sums up decent thoughts about the Clown Prince.
I think that pretty much sums up the few questions, the cabinet and the Commons.
In fairness, with the cabinet, there was one point I really want to make where he's basically got a cabinet of people who are desperately loyal rather than good at their job. Like he fired the guy, the Northern Ireland minister, and he actually was one of the key players in getting Stormont back together, getting the Irish Parliament or wherever Stormont is, back in action.
Yeah.
And then Boris was like, "Yeah, good job, mate. Bye bye."
Yeah.
And he's just like, bro, you just fired a guy who's actually competent.
Yeah.
And did you see the video where they did like the nursery school thing? It's like how many nurses? It's like 18,000.
Yeah.
How much money overnight? Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm thinking like, it's a cult of loyalty now. Where that's why he's kept Patel, because she did loyal.
Yeah, but you look at you look at the main people. Matt Hancock, idiot.
I can't give my favourite Matt Hancock moment because it's rude, but it's hilarious.
Can't even do basic maths. Let's be real. Dominic Raab.
Oh yeah, with the nurses thing. Where, that was great.
Dominic Raab, awful person, shouldn't even.
Yeah, he
be
talked
near
about how helping disabled people was a childish wish list because they didn't have the money. You got money for a tax cut, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Joker.
Priti Patel, we've covered her, absolute witch. Who else is in the government?
Rishi Sunak was a big guy in the banking sector.
Yeah.
Trade guy, doing with stocks and stuff. Now he's in charge of the exchequer.
Unfortunately.
I wouldn't be surprised there's a lot of deregulation going on there.
Yeah.
Let's not forget Javid worked for Deutsche Bank.
Yeah,
well.
And he made a lot of money. A lot of money. Jacob Rees-Mogg, I know he's not really in a position of power. He's kind of...
Is he a minister of that portfolio or something like that?
I thought he was head of the Commons.
Oh, something like that, yeah.
Again, Jacob Rees-Mogg is what...
Sleeping Rees-Mogg on the bench.
Sleepy Mogg. He is what stupid people think intelligent people are. Because he's got a double-breasted suit, and he has a nice posh accent. People go, he must be intelligent. He couldn't even tie his own shoelaces.
One of my lecturers said that it's always strange how working class people are always obsessed with like toffs and people who speak like that.
Yeah.
And like the irony is, Cameron was one of the ones who tried to cut that out because he thought that it makes him seem too privileged. But the irony is, actually, it's worked for people like Mogg. But the thing is, Johnson's a bumbling idiot, and Mogg is, he talks like this, and you're just thinking how do you like one guy who's a bumbling oaf and the other who talks he speaks the Queen's English?
It's the two kind of polar opposites. Like people go, oh, Boris Johnson, he's funny, he's got a scruffy haircut, and he's a bit of a clown, but he's really relatable and funny. He's not relatable and he's not funny. He's the dangerous man who's...
His dad got him into Oxford. Can anyone listeners, did your dad get you into Oxford? No.
My dad left.
My dad doesn't know well. He don't know there's two universities in Oxford properly. But that's my point, is that his dad got him into Oxford. His dad got him into Eton.
Yeah. And his lecturers hated him. The reviews they said about him.
Do you know what? Yeah.
Dreadful.
I remember. the old presidential debates where Rubio, he actually roasted Trump. Where he goes, "If it wasn't for your daddy's money, you'd be selling watches in Manhattan." Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Boris would be selling watches on Oxford Street.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You look at Trump as well. Speaks about the military. The military is so great. He dug the draft. Yeah, he does a draft. And the man doesn't care about you.
The Vietnam War was probably one of the stupidest decisions. I think that and the Afghanistan War were probably the two dumbest decisions the US has made foreign policy wise.
Yeah.
Could be wrong on that one.
If you have any other suggestions for stupid
Comments.
foreign policy, yeah, please let us know.
For the US, and then
We are doing this on the spot, so
yeah, and so like Vietnam was
Show
a really
mercy.
stupid decision, bro. You got beaten by farmers. You see that Yu-Gi-Oh! I think did you tag Craig in it or Craig tagged you in it? Where he's like US military, and then Yu-Gi pulls out Vietnamese
Yeah.
farmers, and then Kyber gets blown away.
Yeah.
It's so that meme is just one of the best. It's just
But-
one of the best. And so like, I think there's a Call of Duty game where you jump into Vietnam War in it, and then
yeah, Black Ops.
is it Black Ops 1?
Black Ops 1's based in. I'm pretty sure Black Ops 1 is based in
And
Vietnam.
like
A great game as well.
You're
I can
doing
play.
well, you're holding the point, and all the tanks can be like, what was the main character's name? Mason. He's like,
Yeah,
Mason, we gotta get out of
yeah.
here. And I'm just like, bro, this isn't fair, man. These
Yeah.
man have tanks. Like, how many rocket launchers do you
Yeah.
have?
No, a great game.
And so it's probably the best Black Ops game in the franchise.
I'd agree. Black Ops 1. All the Black Ops games
I
are
like the
great.
one with the Mexican villain guy. He had the chip in his eye or something like that, and he hacked into their machinery. I think it was Black Ops 3. I think it was. I'm not sure.
What's the one where you meet Castro? Is that Black Ops 1 or 2?
That's one.
Is it 1? Yeah.
Yeah, because he goes in there. It's a bear pigs on it.
Yeah.
Where you think you got Castro, and then Castro just munch you off.
Yeah, it's someone else, and you're like,
And
oh.
1-0 for Delman.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
And so
but if you want historical accuracy, play Call of Duty Black Ops. Is the main point?
In fairness, the Bay of Pigs was denied by I think it was JFK at the time, where he said no, we weren't involved in this, and everyone's like, yeah, you were though.
Well, you're not going to be like, yeah, we. Okay.
Oh, that failed attempt to pull a coup in Cuba. Yeah, that was us guys, and we're really sorry, Cuba, but I'll do it again.
And JFK was killed by the CIA. But I guess
Yeah,
that's a whole other podcast.
Huh?
That's probably a whole other podcast.
That probably is. It's not one we have expertise on, to be fair.
No.
So we'll go. Should do it quickly. We just thoughts on Dominic Cummings. He's meant to be the mastermind. I don't think he's as smart as people think. You know what we've done right. What Corbyn and the gang did was, you got your strong monster. You think you're doing good. You go for the direct attack. Man's got a face down. And it's like, yeah, Magic's in, and you're like,
Yeah.
what? And then you lose, and you're like, bro, I didn't expect that to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Then Dominic Cummings it's scary that he is in charge of the government now.
Yeah, he
like,
wanted
he is
the
putting.
eugenics guy to be in government. I'm like, why?
That's a very Nazi policy.
Eugenics, yeah.
I'm not saying that the person is a Nazi, but eugenics has a lot of roots within
It's
Nazism.
about how they think certain minorities are stupid, genetically.
Yeah,
And
it's
in theory,
to
genetically.
weed out those people,
And,
like the obsoletes.
I think Epstein was one of those as well, because he wanted to breed certain types of people.
He was a weird.
He
had a lot wrong with him.
Probably
But-
being a nonce.
Yeah, you're a horrible person, Jeffrey. But you're dead, so you can't really listen to this.
Yeah.
But
If
You were-
if Ghislaine Maxwell, if you're listening to this, I hope they get you too, mate. I hope
Yeah.
because you've got a lot of where the bodies are buried. Essentially,
But
you know a lot of people that were involved.
as a lot of famous people in power, you can be whatever you want and get away with it.
Even Elon Musk was there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought you were meant to be the Tony
the-
Stark of our world. You're totally nonce, mate.
The amount of paedophiles in positions of power in the UK and the US,
Do you know what I
I think
did?
is frightening.
That
And I
video
think a lot of
where
people don't
I
know.
put an age setting on it. The paedophiles predicted in Parliament.
Yeah.
Which was a catchy name. There's a lot of P's in there. Basically, it was like Lord Steele. He protected one of his guys. Thatcher knew potentially had one who had a. They said a penchant for young boys. Where I was like, you like young
Yeah.
boys. Now I'm talking about the football team. I think it's called BSC Young Boys.
Yeah, Switzerland, I think. Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
strange name. But yeah, we're not talking about the
We're
football
not.
team Young Boys. We're
I
talking
wish we
about,
were.
we're talking
God.
about school kids, man. And he had some sort of obsession with school boys. And they were protected in Parliament, and you just a lot of rich people go with it. I mean, they know that Prince Andrew hasn't been is it extradited? Probably the word to the US.
He'll return to government duties or royal duties. Sorry.
Like, Trump, if you listen, we'll offer you the greatest trader. We'll give you a prince in exchange for an ambassador's wife. I feel like that's a good deal.
Yeah, that's 1 for 1.
Because what annoys me is she would have got a slap on the wrist because it was an accident, and she didn't run away from the scene. I don't think either.
She should be behind bars.
Yeah.
And so should Prince Andrew.
Yeah, that Joker, he was from the US. So I checked my analytics, right, and it said
Was he?
50 views from the US. So this guy, he was from the US, so that's why he's
Yeah, just for reference, there was a video that Madge did on the Harry Dunn
Alex
case.
Hudson, I think his name was something
Yeah,
like that.
and I commented.
Mate,
Someone basically said, "Oh, just let it go." The family don't.
he's
want
a
him more."
mother. She's a mother. She has kids. It's like so.
Yeah. And basically was saying that we should just let Ansakoulis be because that's just the way it is. And I commented back saying, "Mate, you're a clown."
I'll link that below in the description.
Yeah, kind of gave some facts about how the woman has basically got away with murder because she's powerful.
Murder or manslaughter.
And you've left a grieving family who have
the Dunn family.
Yeah, rest in peace to Harry. But they have now been left with a massive hole in their life by losing their son,
And then had no closure.
Yeah, and the woman won't even face justice. And this guy was basically saying, "Oh, just let it go. The family don't want to be in the spotlight. We don't want the family to be in the spotlight. We want justice to be served."
If justice happened, they wouldn't be in the spotlight anymore.
And the guy who commented, what was his name? Alex. Was it Alex?
Alex Hudson or something.
Alex, if you're listening, you are a clown.
You've joined the list of clowns. Boris is your prince, and you're with Priti Patel.
Have you heard some of the clowns on this list? You've got some awful people in there. People like sour sweets as well. So
I'm on the man who's defended a person who's basically committed manslaughter. I'm on the list because I like sour sweets.
Sour sweets maybe can be off the list. But Alex, you are a clown, and if you are saying that Ansakula should just go scot-free, then I think you should be... let's have a slap round the ear to get some common sense.
So if we talk about thoughts and comments, I think he's trying to be... he's pulled some good moves off the, let's get Brexit done. That was pretty smart. The 350 million on the bus, I'm assuming probably was him. Also a smart move. So he's done some right things, but the election was lucky in the sense that Joe Swinson basically forced Corbyn's hand, because if he got the votes he needed, Corbyn would have been in the position of, you're denying the electorate a vote on who the Prime Minister is, because Boris wasn't elected.
I'd agree with that. No disrespect to Lib Dem voters, but I saw a lot of Lib Dem voters on Twitter who thought they were a lot better than Labour voters. They're like, "Oh, you're voting Labour, blah, blah. You have to back the Lib Dems." Why? You're a minority party.
And
the SNP are bigger than you.
I don't know. That's true. I don't know what their core ideology is beyond staying within the EU, because if you look at their coalition record, Jesus Christ,
the Lib Dems are...
She voted more with the Tory whip than
Jeremy. Oh no, I thought Jeremy Hunt, but maybe it's probably both. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure it was Gove.
Oh, was it Gove?
I'm 90% sure it was Gove. So what you are, you're just Tories who want to stay within the EU. Prove me wrong. Because I didn't see a lot. I saw your manifesto look good. I remember cutting tuition fees, then raising them to $9,000.
Yeah. So where are you?
So where are you? Like you had to make concessions to be in government, whatever. You didn't have to do that though. You could have let the Conservatives be as a minority government. You had options.
There's concessions, and then there is
selling the family farm.
I don't know. I was just going to say sellouts, but maybe it is that phrase. I don't know.
Yeah, you sold the horses, the cows, and everything. Yeah,
but all for a little bit of power. And I think you look at. Because a lot of the Liberals are like, "Oh, we just want to stay in the EU." I'm like, "But you wanted just to reverse it. We needed another vote. You weren't willing to give the electorate that vote. You just wanted it to be scrapped and we go on as normal. Like, it doesn't happen like that. Even now on Twitter, people are like, we're gonna vote. We don't need to leave the EU. Blah blah blah. Like, we just need to accept that it's done.
It's done. It's over.
We just need to work together to try and find the best way to get through this.
The least damage now, and we hope that in a few years' time we can come back. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, because any trade deal will do damage to the economy, regardless of if we get a Canada deal. Even if somehow we get goods and services in there, somehow, if we have to give some sort of concession, it's still going to do damage. Yeah. And that's the problem.
Massively.
And so, for every level you go down, the more damage does to the economy, and the more of a position it puts us in where deregulation will happen, dodgy trade deals will happen. And that's going to be worse in the long term for the economy. Yeah. And so, thoughts and comments. I think he's not as good as Alistair Campbell being a spin dog. Alistair Campbell was really good at his job, even though he's another one where I really despise him, because he was the one that had to basically jazz up the Iraq War document. Yeah. And so, people who talk about you're a Blairite and stuff, is like, if you're still pro Iraq War now, you just leave the party. Leave the party. Just go somewhere else. Honestly. And Dominic Cummings, I don't think he's as smart as people think he is, especially because he tried to get the eugenics guy, and everyone's like, "Are you being serious?" And he's like, "Maybe." And then the guy had to leave because he became a circus, basically, a circus around him. And so I don't think he's as smart as people make out to be, and he doesn't have a lot of friends within the Tory party either. No. And so I think if he makes a couple of mistakes, which could inevitably happen,
it is a big possibility though.
Because if you can't get the money in for his spending plans, he either has to cut his spending plans, and half-baked spending plans which look terrible. Look at the bus station in Northampton, for example, where they needed the money to build a big infrastructure thing, a big statement about where the town is going, and they built like a half-baked bus station which looks nice but melts you in the summer, kills you in the winter, and isn't fit for purpose. And so even if he does spend money within the north, if it's not the amount that they need, it's going to look half-baked. Yeah. And you're not going to get as much success as you want to. And so his problem is going to be he has to borrow more money, which I don't think people care as much as the media do about the deficit increasing and things like that. Even though you're the party who said you're going to cut the debt and the deficit, the economy's been pretty stagnant for the last 10 years because working class people just don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Disposable income is so important for the economy to grow. You can do so much. It's like the argument I had with Georgia on the podcast before, where if you give £1,000 to each person, if you give it to Jeff Bezos, he's going to do nothing with it. If you give it to people like us, we can probably spend it.
Yeah, it's £1,000 we didn't have before.
And is Bezos, if you give him a tax cut, of another $1 million, is he going to buy another mansion? Like the man has 6.
Yeah.
We're human beings at the day. Is he going to visit 6 mansions in the space of a week or a month, a year? I don't know, and it's pointless. What you can do is 7 yachts. How many yachts can you be on at once?
Yeah. Jeff, pay your taxes and contribute to society because you are killing people.
And stop getting your workers to pee in bottles.
Yeah. Have some class, man. You can afford it.
Yeah, Jeffrey. And that's my point on Cummins. I don't think he's as good as people think he is.
No.
So we'll leave it there. So we'll do the question that you've done some homework on. We'll do the rise of fascism, and then and nationalism, historic and modern. So you want to talk about that? So the rise of fascism,
yes,
throughout history and sort of the modern era. Until I'll cut, which is my bad. That's what happens when you talk about football. And then
I know. Well, yeah, the rise of fascism and nationalism.
So if we talk about history first, and then we'll go to the modern era, you go with that? Or?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine with me. Yeah.
Cool, let's go with that. So we're talking 1930s, Germany, Italy, I think Spain.
Franco, General Franco. Yeah. I guess Germany's the one everyone knows the most on.
We'll keep talking about like 2 world wars and 1 world
cup. And yet very few people actually know what kind of happened. But so I guess the similarity. Well, no, not similarity. The main thing with Germany was the context it was set in. It was the fall of the Weimar government. And the weakness that they were showing, the Nazis did a very good job of branding them as the traitors. They were the ones who signed the Treaty of Versailles. So a lot of people in Germany at the time, especially how detrimental the Treaty of Versailles was to Germany as a nation, the Nazis did a good job of phrasing that as
having the back theory.
Yeah,
and we would have won the war, but the ministers in Germany were like, "Yeah, we need to surrender because stuff."
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
No, but. The context that Nazi Germany happened in is a very... there's a lot to unpack with it, I guess.
If we start from the recession, you had the Young and Dawes Plan in the 20s, which really helped the German economy.
Yeah.
And those loans were taken back because the US were like, we kind of need the money now.
Yeah.
And so you had a lot of German manufacturing those needs. You had, hyperinflation because of the... the industrial area was occupied by France because Germany didn't pay back the loans.
The Ruhr,
that's the one. And basically France were like, you can't pay back our loans. It's like, it's like, we're going to invade your industrial partners. Like, that means we can't make anything. That means we can't help you out. And it's like, so what, bruv?
Yeah.
And then they were like to the Germans, like, we need you to build stuff. And it's like, sorry, I don't speak French.
What language are you speaking?
It's like, all I hear is frogs and cheese. And so, sort of like, that economic problems creates a lot of anxiety within society. And then you have sort of government crumbles.
Yeah.
You move away from kind of centre left, centre right politics, and then you move towards the darker ways. So we saw that in obviously with Russia, when Lenin said peace, land, and bread. He didn't say I'm going to give you communism and all these things. He promised 3 basic things which every peasant could relate to. That's what they wanted. Peace. So obviously the war decimated Russia.
Yeah.
A lot of the effort went to the front. And the Tsar was like, I'll go lead the war effort. And then he left a big man like Rasputin.
Yeah, Grigory Rasputin.
Yeah.
If you don't know him, give him a Google. He's a very interesting character.
To put the man down. I reckon he's a wizard or something.
The unkillable Rasputin.
Do you know what I mean? He could still be alive to this day.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So if you can hear any noise outside, there's construction going on, because I can hear it in my ears, so I don't know if I might speak now. So my apologies for that, because it's really digging him. I don't know if it's actually going on out there. I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's my ear just hearing things now at this point.
Yeah, we can't afford a studio, so if you want to...
I'm in the studio,
this bedroom is a studio, so subscribe and
once I get some subs,
help Madge pay for a studio. Keep subscribing, keep liking, keep commenting.
Yeah, I like that. And so look, so you have economic anxiety, move away from centre politics. Then you have the dodgy characters come in, peace, land, and bread. I'm not saying Lenin, grain requisitioning was pretty brutal, to be fair. And so look, if you're a person in that situation, you're poor. Peasant or whatever in Russia, guy's offering you an end to the war, he's offering you food, bread, and he's offering you land
to grow your crops. They just want to grow crops, feed the family.
That's pretty much subsistence farming and sell some off in the market. That was the whole thing. And so you have that guy Lenin. Lenin is very close to communism, or Marxism in that sense.
Yeah.
Even though he did the new economic policy, but he did that out of necessity, not because he's like, yeah, free market now, bro.
Yeah.
Here, we free marketeers. And so we had Lenin, obviously, in Russia. We had Germany recovered with the Weimar Republic, because obviously the Kaiser Wilhelm II,
Yeah.
who had, I think, a tiny hand or something like that. So he was very, very, what's the word? Subconscious, not subconscious, but very worried about how his hands looked in pictures, which is great.
Oh, bless him. Sorry,
so that's why it was like his hands were like out of the way,
really?
sort of thing.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. I have small hands though, so.
So yeah. Someone else has tiny hands, Donald Trump.
There we do, yeah. Small hand Trump.
Tiny hands.
Tiny Trump.
Yeah, when I think Rubio said tiny hands means something else. I was like, right.
Yeah.
That's what US discourse has come to, changing room insults, man. And so the point being is that you need economic anxiety. So you need some sort of recession within a country.
You need people with something to fear, and the thing people fear the most is the economy.
So Germany economy tanks. You had the Spartacists in 23, I believe. 1923 in Germany, who tried to overthrow the Weimar Republic. They were like, sit down, you're done. And so the Weimar Republic survived. But the Weimar Republic starts to crumble. Hitler starts winning more votes, starts blocking things within the PR system, which is Germany, because you didn't need 5% back then of minimum. You could just get in.
Yeah.
And so I think, I can't remember what the exact story what happened, but it was like the triangle of evil, where I think the Chancellor basically gave Hitler more and more power.
It was von Hindenburg, wasn't it? Was von Hindenburg?
Something like that.
Or von...
His problem was that he
Which one was von Schleicher?
I can't remember.
I think it was von Hindenburg. No, von Hindenburg was the president.
It might have been him, but
there's a lot of
names aren't important here.
Okay.
The important bit is, because we'll spend all day trying to figure this out.
Yeah,
Carl's going to come back tomorrow. The point being is that he gave Hitler more and more power, became more reliant on his votes, and then eventually Hitler got to the spot of, I think it was von Hindenburg, where he took an oath to protect the Weimar Republic, so he's very reluctant to give Hitler any sorts of power, purely because he knew Hitler wanted to destroy the Weimar Republic. He made it very obvious, very clear. And so then you had the Reichstag fire in 36.
Yeah,
so Germany's economy is tanking. You had hyperinflation and then he
was
made
it 36? The Reichstag fire, was it that late?
Oh, it might have been.
Because I know that was where, I'm pretty sure Hitler would come to power, and because they blamed the communists for it, didn't they? Because they were, from memory, Hitler wanted
33.
33, yeah. Because that was when Hitler had just come to power, pretty much, and Hitler basically wanted to control the entire Reichstag. So the theory is that they caused the fire, blamed it on the communists.
Oh no, it was very obvious that.
Oh yeah.
And so basically, what my point being is that A, you had economic anxiety within Germany. B, you already had the Spartacist revolution in 23. So you had an attempted coup. Hitler blamed the communists for this, and so you've got a rising tide of fear. You've got the stab in the back theory. You've got the fact that we should still be a great country. However, it was those ministers back then, the Jews who caused all these problems.
Yeah.
You got a back problem, blame a Jew, like that sort of thing kept happening, and so you've got this rampant rise of xenophobia, anger towards people who didn't deserve it at all.
No.
Didn't deserve it at all. And so the people you should really be blaming us, whoever gave Austria the blank check to go to war with when their prince was killed, or whether when someone threw a frag in his car, or they shot down his wife. I can't remember which one it was. There was a lot of violence.
We're not a history podcast, alright? Leave us alone.
Okay.
We know the stuff that happened, just not the specifics.
We don't rate experts in this country anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you're expert on the on viruses, then we like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're an EU expert, then we don't really like you that much. It's conflicted.
It's a long story, alright.
Okay. And so basically, my point being is that you need economic side. You need these factors to come in. So what did we see recently? We saw 2008, the Great Recession. Not as bad as the Depression, because the Depression was
catastrophic for the whole world. Like that was
pretty much decimated
that was
most of the world's economies.
Level of...
It was insane. Like they had to bail out the banks in 2008 because you would have a depression era kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we had that. Right, we had a lot of economic anxiety over the last 10 years. The Conservatives took power. Austerity. People are poorer now. Wages have just come back to pre-recession levels.
Yeah.
So it took us over 10 years to get back to the place we're at now. And so you've got that. You've got more migrants coming into the country. And now you've got your scapegoat. So
yeah, you've got your common enemy, which is a very similar link to Nazi Germany.
And Momentum covered this very well. So what they did was a video where they blamed everything on the Asian guy who's like he's taking up all the resources, all the school places, and all that stuff. And so my point being is that what we've done is we blamed EU migrants for everything. Why can't you get a doctor spot EU migrants? Why can't you get a school spot EU kids?
Yeah.
Well, what else? We'll say crime, EU people, everything.
Hospital waiting times,
Yeah.
overcrowded
I think
transport.
like 12% of EU work, the NHS workforce, something like that.
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more as well.
Do you think it's more?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know the figure.
I'd have to check that. I'll put that in as a fact check, as I have to often do.
Thank you.
Because I'm freestyling out here. But yeah, my point being is that if it's about 12%, you're talking about what? 1 in 10 staff members.
Just over, yeah.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. And so even if you did bring in, nurses and people from non-EU countries, you still have a massive problem with language barrier, because even German, sort of Polish and whatever, the languages are very different, but they still use the same kind of basic alphabet. Apart from they use, the umlaut.
Yeah. Well, so do we, though, don't we? Our English is very Germanic in its origins.
French and Germanic, yeah. But if you get someone from, say, Bangladesh, the alphabet is completely different. Like the way Bengali is written, it's just weird.
Yeah.
And even if you got, say, even Arab people, like the way they write is completely different. So I'm talking about the language barriers. It's very hard to learn a language outside of, of your area.
It is. I can testify. Which
one are you trying to learn?
Russian.
Yeah, their alphabet's quite different as well.
It's Cyrillic. Yeah. I can have a decent conversation with someone, but it's just because the alphabet base is so different.
And so if you get people from non-EU countries in to do these jobs, if you can manage it, because my point has always been, like, if you hate people who, look, Polish or whatever, you're definitely not going to like people like me who are brown, because it's a lot more obvious.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if your problem is them, then your problem is going to be a lot more with me, people, who look like me, or people from other parts of the world.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, the darker kind. And so you're going to need a lot more people from non-EU countries to come in and fill the gaps.
Yeah.
Are they going to want to come to a country that's racist?
No.
Because you don't go to a place you're not welcome, regardless how much money they give you.
Yeah, and even the money and conditions are crap.
Or you stay here for 5 years and you go back.
Yeah.
Like a lot of EU migrants do. They leave the family behind, they come here, they work for about 5-10 years, and they go back.
Yeah.
The Polish unemployment rate is extremely low, and they need people to come back and do the jobs there.
Yeah.
And that's where they'll go. And that's it. Do you know what I mean? What was the question again?
Professional podcast.
And that's kind of talking about the rise of nationalism. That's where it comes from. The point being of economic anxiety. Things are going badly for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is your fault. Maybe you've made bad decisions.
So yes, the things we covered there, like, I guess you can argue there's different. But like, I think the most important factor is having a common enemy.
I think the economic anxiety is one, because that's what creates it. You need, you need a reason to hate someone else generally. Unless you're one of those people who are like, I just don't like him just because I don't like. Yeah. Crane said that about Corbyn. I don't like the cut of his jib. I'm like,
that doesn't make sense.
Like, what does that even mean? It's like just something about him I don't like.
Where you're with the kind of economic conditions that it requires, I think you don't get nationalism without an enemy that you need to focus on, and you have to divert. Because you can blame anything. If you convince the media enough and you spin it enough, you can convince that any problem is the fault of any group or society.
It's a mix of those two, where one can lead you to feel, or even if you believe one. Say you hate Eastern European people anyways, right? And now you've got a secondary reason to hate them because they're taking your job.
Yeah.
Or they're taking, your spot for your kids, so now you have to go to a further out school.
Or they're taking benefits that you like. What I don't get is just like, they're taking our jobs. They're taking our benefits. They can only have one. So
you do get in-work benefits, like you get housing benefits and stuff like that. But my fundamental point is that if you're mad that there's not enough houses being built, there's not enough housing, bro, that means we have to build more houses.
Yeah, that's not a problem with the population. That's a problem with your government.
Because at the end of the day, say you kick out, people in the area from Eastern Europe, right? What's to stop rich people from just buying the house you want anyway?
Yeah, which they very easily can, and then just renting it at a hugely inflated price.
Do you know what I mean? We don't have enough houses in this country, right? More people coming in doesn't help the problem. But at the same time, we need more people with expertise in construction to build more houses.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem right there. People don't understand these intricate points where, the common argument of, we don't need to buy players in, we can just get them from the youth academy. Yeah. It's like, A, it takes a long time to do that. B, you don't know if they're going to be
it's a risk.
As good as the people you can get in now.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like my boiler needs changing now. I can't wait 5 years for some kid to learn how to change a boiler and be his first one.
I need someone to do it now. I need someone to sort my patio. I don't know,
whatever problem you have now.
This is something we can talk about for.
And you can talk about how even in our school, all the kids who weren't good academically were put on doing brickwork and all that stuff. It wasn't us. Do you know what I mean? And you could talk about this problem within the school system.
Well,
where
we went straight to things like
academics.
your histories, your sciences, your
and
maths.
you could say that's a massive problem because they don't teach you basics in school, like how to change a light bulb and things like that. You know what I mean? Being high up on a chair and thinking like, bro, grab onto the chair or else.
It's quite weird to think about now that the kids who were deemed not academically intelligent were just thrown to construction and labour work, whereas those who obviously
any kind of,
were able to were academic standards intelligence decent, could do written work.
That's a real shortage within the construction market and all these other things like
there always and there's always a job for mechanics, construction workers, engineers. Any trade is a great thing to get into.
You can argue that we don't train enough people here to do these jobs, but these jobs are very hard to do.
Oh yeah, I can't even change a stapler. Like I can't do anything with my hands.
Well, we don't get taught these things in school, and that's why we bring in a lot of people. And you can say that's a problem within the school educational system. That's fine, but at the same time, it's going to take years for us to fix that. So you have to do both. You have to get people in to do it now, and you got to get people trained up to do these things.
The focus of a school is to just show 98% of our students went to university. That's what they want.
Yeah, you're right. Because our school was like that as well. Yeah. And they push more people into academics because you know what I mean. Like
we did quite well out of school. Like obviously, Madge and I both went to university. Both got our 2-1s and whatnot. And a lot of our school's focus, because I was tempted to not really go to university. I'd missed quite a lot of school, and a part of me was like, I just won't bother going to university. I'll just try and get a job and see what happens. But the school kind of pushed me to go.
They did that because they keep asking you, like, what are you going to do once you're...
and they were very helpful with the process.
Yeah.
But it's because they have to be, because that way they can then show to parents...
It's all ranking tables now.
Yeah, and they can go to parents, 99% of our kids went to universities,
good universities
and 30% went to Oxford, Cambridge, blah, 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 blah.
Big up Jimmy Adams, a big Southampton graduate.
Yeah, very smart guy. Yeah. Maybe I think he could be too smart, but a great lad.
He could drop a lot of points and still be way above us.
Yeah, that is true.
But the being is that, like, sorry, you want to say anything?
I was going to say that the focus was on university, and there was such little... Year 11, the focus was get as many people to sixth form as you can.
Because of money.
And then get everyone to university as you can. And it's money for the school, and it also gets them to put in, when they're advertising for spaces, that they go, look at all our sixth form students. He went to Oxford, he went to Cambridge, he's doing computer science, he's doing history at a great university.
Other nerd stuff.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, stuff that people go, oh, that's so impressive, well done.
He's a smart kid, he's studying, X subject. But they don't teach us basics in school.
No, like stuff like checkbooks and that. I don't know. I've never written a check. I don't want to.
I'm still not sure. Like my mum, she writes checks. I'm just like,
I'm too scared. I ain't doing that. I got online bank.
And like you can get mad at like EU migrants coming in and doing a job that the jobs like the basic ones that we don't want to do, and the more important jobs that have to be done, like working in the care sector. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you got to imagine, like, unless they force people into these sectors where you can get people who don't really want to be there. What are you going to do if your grandma gets ill and you can't look after her? You don't have the skills or the time necessarily to do it. You have to get a carer in, someone from outside who comes into your house and looks after him for a couple of hours.
Well, you can't work 8 hours, take care of your mum, make all the stuff.
It's difficult,
and also get to sleep at a good time. It's not possible. You need help.
What happens when there aren't enough carers in the system? And so, you try and hire someone, they're like, look, I've got offers from these various people, you're going to have to pay me, 20 quid or something. You're going to be like, bruh. And so the point being is that we need people within the system to do these things. And also at the same time, like, there's a human element to this as well, where they come here, some of these guys, they live in like 8 man in a house, or things like that. And that's a government failure though. If you want to stop people doing that, you have to put more restrictions on what's it called, HMOs I think it was, where you have like multiple occupancies in one house. You have to restrict it.
And that's not the fault. People are coming here to try and make a life for themselves. You can't criticise people for doing that. And these people are coming here doing a good service and then going like no one else is doing it. No one else is filling that service. They're doing the jobs that British people don't want to do. A lot of them, like stuff like cleaners, handymen, stuff like people. We haven't got British people to do it, so we need to outsource it. These people come in here, they're making enough money, saving it, and then going home to live better. We can't argue that because we need them more than...
Yeah, if you're going to complain about these people, you're going to have to pick up the slack and do what they do.
Yeah, you can't criticise people. You can't criticise your, Polish electrician. Yeah. You can't do it, and you haven't got anyone else who can do it.
The scary fact is, Priti Patel talked about how she wants to get more people who are economically inactive. She's talking about old people, people that retired, disabled people, school people that are in education.
Yeah.
because they have different ways of measuring unemployment. Like in America, they have like the U6, where they're like everyone who's unemployed, so students are included in that, and they have like the actual unemployment number, which is like not including schools and stuff like that. And so if you want to get all these people who are economically inactive, good luck, you know what I mean? Because if you're pushing people to sacrifice their education to get a job now, then it's not going to end well for either.
I think with the question of the rise of fashion, I think that's a whole podcast job.
The whole podcast.
I think it might be.
I think, yeah.
Especially with the time constraints that we're on, I guess it's a bit of a pain.
Cool,
but
we'll skip that.
I'd love to cover that in an entire podcast, because we could do a good hour and a half, 2 hours.
So we'll go for your pick on Labour leader.
So I've casted my vote, because I'm a member of the Labour Party. I have voted. I voted for Keir Starmer. I really, really like Rebecca Long-Bailey, but I looked at how she ranks with like the general public, and her figures aren't that good. A lot of people see her as like just a female mini Corbyn.
Yeah, I think that's very unfair.
Yeah, I think it is very unfair, but I also think those people who have that view, like,
they're going to keep it.
Yeah, they're not going to change it. And a lot of people on Twitter were saying, you know, people saying Keir Starmer's electable, but they're not saying how. But his figures are very good because he's obviously a very intelligent man.
Handsome guy.
Yeah, good-looking guy.
That helps.
Good. He looks very prime ministerial.
He's got a very good record, public prosecutor as well.
He's a great speaker. He's got a nice suit, good haircut. He looks professional, and people like that. People just want someone who looks the part, and Keir Starmer does. And I think he would do very well with the Labour Party. I would like Becky Long-Bailey, and I would have voted for her if she kind of had that same aura, but I just don't think she polls well enough with people, which is a shame, because she is actually a very good politician.
What do you think party-wise? Do you think Starmer is, people say he's like too right-wing, or too like...
He's like centre Labour, he's like right Labour, isn't he?
He's not really, he was
that's what people say.
He was there pushing the manifesto, you know, of nationalisation, 4-day work week and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like the shadow cabinet, I still believe has, you know, collective responsibility. And so, like, he can't, like, someone's asked him, like, do you believe in, you know, nationalising the broadband? He can't say no, because he ran on that manifesto.
Yeah. I think even if Keir Starmer isn't like an out-and-out socialist like Becky Long-Bailey is, he's one man in the party. He can't make the rules up for everything. The party holds him to account. He's not like this man who's just going to drag Labour. Like, the party will regulate him.
Black.
No.
Yes, he's no Tony Black.
And, yeah, so I voted for Keir Starmer just based on the fact that I think it makes Labour more electable.
Because the way I see it is either you push competition within the sector, say broadband, because the only competition is BT, and who's your broadband with, Sky?
I think I'm a BT. I'm a BT.
Literally only BT and Virgin, and so Virgin basically offered like more speed, better deal, better upload and download speeds.
Yeah.
And BT couldn't match it because they don't have the infrastructure built around here.
Yeah. So
I have two options, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because I can't go with like the other ones because they're too slow, and there's a lot of people in this house, and so it's kind of a duopoly in that sense of both companies basically saying whoever's got the infrastructure in the area is going to be better. Yeah. All you got to do is hope everyone else doesn't jump on it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so how is that competition? Like, if you see planes, right, there's so much competition for like traveling to major destinations. Like if you want to travel to Barcelona, you probably get quotes from like 4 different companies, 5 different companies.
Yeah, easily.
And like for trains, there's no competition, and I feel like if you're either a person who wants to force competition within this, whether you do that as a public provider, so like in America they want to do public provider for healthcare, so that will compete with private healthcare, so you buy in for, you know, a public option.
Yeah.
You either do that or you say we're going to nationalise it because it's a duopoly, it's ridiculous now. And I feel like with energy companies, even though there's like companies competing with each other, the energy prices are pretty similar because no one wants to compete with each other. We talk about this in Northampton all the time.
Yeah.
None of these places want to compete with each other. They're very happy to keep things as is.
Yeah.
Because they're getting enough business. But I feel like you need either a public option to really rattle them up, and you know, a public option that still makes profit because obviously that money will go back into the public purse, not to dividends, to shareholders. But I feel like if Keir Starmer even said, I'm going to push competition within these sectors, I'm going to do it through a public option, I would still happily accept that over just nationalisation.
Yeah. Well, with the Labour leader, say if I imagine Keir Starmer will win, but I would be very happy if Rebecca Long-Bailey won as well, because I think they're both two great politicians and they would make great leaders. But
what are your thoughts on Lisa Nandy? Because I don't.
I haven't really
She's
seen.
a strange one.
Yeah, I haven't really seen enough of her to kind of cast a judgment. From what I've seen, she looks, you know, like a well-presented politician. She kind of knows her stuff. There was something I saw about some controversy with her. Not controversy, but something I can't remember what she said, but I think with the Labour leadership election, it was only ever really going to be between
Starmer and Bailey.
Yeah, and it's like with the deputy, I think Angela Rayner is like.
I quite like, the Dr. Rosalina.
Dr. Khan, yeah, she's very good.
She looks like she could be a good one.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're going to get Keir Starmer in, I feel like you need someone who's not vicious, but you need someone who's like an attack dog.
See, that's what I think Angela Rayner would do quite well. I think she's a proper working class woman who has kind of brought herself up and done really well for herself, and I think she will be. I think Keir Starmer will have that kind of strong, level-headed professionalism, and I think Angela Rayner will be like the bite that Labour need, like the person.
Like,
she's very. Angela Rayner knows her stuff. She is a very good.
You know what, I was listening to one bit of the James O'Brien radio show where one guy was saying, how could you have Angela Rayner in charge of education when she didn't have a proper education? Like, do you know her backstory? And he was like, yeah. And then James O'Brien to something along the lines of, if you went through what she went through and you achieved what she did, you'd be very proud of that because of the upbringing she had and the fact that I don't know her backstory, in fairness.
I know she had a child very early, like she was a very young mother,
and apparently her upbringing was rough. And to get to where she's gotten, really, the Tories can say you're an example of the society we're trying to build, where people, like, regardless of where their background is, they can pull themselves up and get to where you are. Like, she essentially, she's an example of where you can get to if you pull yourself up really, really hard. Like, you really go for it.
And that's why I think she'd be a very good deputy. I think she represents a lot of what Labour should be built on. Is, obviously she's a very strong female figure, and she's a very proud woman who. She's doing her part, and I think that's why her.
She one of the dogs of war. Though we're talking like a Bastian Schweinsteiger, 2014 World Cup.
I think her.
Roy Keane, like someone who's just got, like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because if I think Keir Starmer gets that right, if he actually uses his law background where he starts like decimating people, where he starts picking up points and he starts going from these sort of debates.
Keir Starmer is clearly a hugely intelligent man.
That's what I want to see from him. Like, I want to see him be like, look, you said we're going to be in the single market. You said only a madman would leave. You said these things now. Why has that suddenly changed? And if they say like, because of we're you can't make rules if you're like Norway. So why do you say we could be like that?
See,
do you know what I mean? That's what I want to see. Someone's surgical precision.
That's why I want. I want Keir Starmer to be like you said, the pinpoint precision of taking people down, and then Angela Rayner to come in and be like,
we're talking about someone who's like Adesanya, where like he'll hit you like surgical precision, where he'll just catch you clean. Like, he doesn't need power in it, just one hit, boom. That's what I want to see from whoever get in. Someone who's just not messy, not fumbly. They just go for the point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's when I think Angela Rayner would be the good little. Look, she can like do the mopping up. She just finishes people off.
I did see there were some good ones in the deputy. Richard Bludgeon's the one I really don't want to see, because I feel like the guy he just fumbles, man.
It's I think Labour's main problem is credibility right now. They don't have
credibility
any.
And
and that's what I think. I think the credibility and professionalism Keir Starmer brings a lot of, and I think the relatability is what Angela Rayner can bring.
I don't want to make a comparison between him and Tony Blair policy-wise, but like Blair looked very professional.
Yeah,
he's very eloquent as well.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, no, I think that's a very fair point. They're both very intelligent men who have that aura that they give off. They look like they know what they're talking about all the time.
Public prosecutor, knighted as well.
Yes, Keir Starmer, but he doesn't like to be called Sir, which I think plays well for him in the Labour League, because I think a lot of people.
Yeah, I think if he's a Tory, he would have been looked very highly. Looked upon very highly.
If he was a Tory, he'd be Prime Minister.
He fought for miners.
If Keir Starmer was in the Tory party, he would be Prime Minister.
I think he'd be above Rees-Mogg in the pecking order.
Yeah, he would be top dog. He's quite a young man as well, but for a politician, like.
I think if you're in your 40s, early 50s, I think you're kind of youngish for a politician.
Yeah, for a politician.
I think you got until like you're 60, and then you're old.
You're gonna get sent to the backbenches.
You're holding people up there. Move aside.
Yeah, come on.
What's it called? So, do you think Labour has a shot in 2025? So, if we make the assumption like Keir Starmer's in charge, we'll go for the dream ticket. Like Keir Starmer, and we've got Angela Rayner.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a shot in 2025?
5 years is a lot.
Predictions are for 3 years, anyways, because you can be wrong far more times than you'll be right.
I think 5 years is a long time. Of course, they have a shot. It just there's so much context we need to have. Like, how will the economy do post Brexit? How will Johnson do? What? Because you think of things like natural disasters. They play a part.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, we're still waiting to see what happens with that. A lot is to play for in 5 years is an age in politics. So much can
And I
happen.
think that my thing is that if Brexit goes badly, because for now, Keir Starmer's going to be tired with, you're the one who came up with the Brexit policy, you done this wrong. But I feel like if Brexit does go wrong, Keir Starmer's going to have a lot of credibility in the bank here. Because he can say, I told you.
Yeah.
At least Nandy, she's the one saying, we have to do this thing. It's got to be like a Alexis sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's going to have a lot of credibility in the bank if it does go wrong. And my prediction is it will go very wrong for at least 3 years. Because the computer systems that we need won't be up until about 2025 anyways,
Yeah.
to go. And so we're not ready for this.
No.
Do you know what I mean? We're going for the boss fight right now, and we barely finished basic training because Dover's not ready, the other ports aren't ready, they haven't built the infrastructure. What was it, the one where they tried to build a port in one of the small towns where it just wasn't, it just wouldn't happen. They tried to dredge it and spent a lot of money on it, and then they paid all those ferry firms, and then it didn't even happen in the end, and they got paid out.
Yeah.
And then they took their terms and conditions from a takeaway menu or something. Like, do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, it rings a bell. I can't remember the
Yeah,
specifics.
I'll have to look up that one, I think.
But,
Yeah, it's just like Brexit could have worked if we actually had competent politicians who actually understood what they were doing, rather than a bunch of people chasing a soundbite and power.
And it was just British arrogance, where people were like, "Oh, this will be the
arrogance.
easiest deal to negotiate in history," and that
It was
exists.
also the mentality of, because we buy more than we sell to them, they desperately need us. We didn't understand that there's a project in play.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
that was the problem there. We went in there where, it's going to decimate them.
Yeah.
They know it's not going to decimate because they've upgraded Rotterdam, the Rotterdam port, I think. So they can actually, a lot of the trade's going to go through there.
Yeah.
And so they're prepared for this. The only thing that they weren't 100% sure on was the Irish border.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's really hampered them.
Yeah.
Because it's such a unique scenario, I think, where you have, it would be an inland border between those two countries like that.
Yeah. But going back to the question, Labour have a shot, but like you said,
Long shot.
so much can happen. 5 years is a very long time, and we'll have to see how. Brexit's the big player, so we'll have to see how that plays out.
So why do you think people vote against their best interests?
I think, mainly from a working class point of view, I think a lot of working class people, like you said earlier, think that they're close to being rich, that they just need a few bits to go and they'll be middle class. People, they're voting for what they aspire to be. Working people are voting Conservative because they think, I want to be middle class, or they already think they are middle class.
And they'll give me the chance to be middle class.
Yeah, and it's not happening, and they don't know they're voting against their best interest. There seems to be a very British view that, like I was saying, there seems to be a very British viewpoint that people want, that people have this idea that they have to work until they die.
They're trying to up their retirement age, man. That's scary.
And stuff like a 4-day week is very beneficial for the economy because,
productivity will go up.
Yeah,
Japan are meddling with it, but Japan have the way they work and the way we work is just.
But like I said,
insane.
you said earlier, sorry, there's more time to reinvest in the economy because people have an extra day to go to town, to go out for a coffee with their mum, to go.
It all depends on if you have enough disposable income. If disposable income went up, then a 4-day work week would be really good.
Yeah, and it just there's a human side. People want to spend time with their families. Costs for nursery reduced because if you've got, say, you're a typical household, you've got yourself and your partner. There's 2 of you. You have 2 different days off in a week. You've only got to pay for 3 days nursery. That's a massive difference from 5, and so you're obviously saving money there. But people in Britain, there's times where I've been into different jobs I've had, and oh, how are you? Oh, well, I'm here. How are you feeling? Oh, terrible, my work. People just don't enjoy work. And we're so ingrained that we have to dislike work. We can't enjoy what we do for work, and we have to just work until we die. And people are so hell-bent on that. Because I think the older generation has gone, well, I did that, so you have to do it. Why?
Yeah,
why do we have to?
The main problem is when people talk about cancelling student loan debt, and it's like, well, I had to pay off my student loans. Why shouldn't you? Okay, the first problem is my student loans are way higher than yours, big man.
Yeah.
The second problem is I've seen the other argument was oh well, I had to struggle through my illness. Why should you get the cure for it?
Yeah.
I had to go through chemo, big man. Why should you get a cure for cancer?
And we're so well, I did it, so you have to. But surely you'd want people to see your struggles and go, never again will you have to live that.
I mean, no man who jumped off a boat on D-Day was my generation had to fight the Nazis. I want to see you go do that. Let's go start a war with someone else.
There's a one that my dad said. We're talking about national service, and he was like, "Yeah, I think you young people should do national service now." This is when I was a bit younger, and I was like, "Oh, did you do national service?" He went, "Well, no, but so you can't talk then? Stop." Like, you're telling me to do something you didn't do. What's the national?
People like, if only went back to hitting the kids, that would fix everything.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why your generation is probably the most selfish generation we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Because you got whacked with a stick, probably rattled your brain a bit.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the boomer generation were whole, like, they were taught, like, to work for yourself. You do everything for yourself. You work. You have to work hard to achieve, and that mentality is still. They're trying to feed that to us, and our generation are kind of going, well, no, life is more about enjoyment, about love and passion and being with our friends and learning new things. It's not about working till...
like the GX theme song goes, chilling out with the crew in the schoolyard. Yeah, that's what it's about. And I forgot what I was going to say now, but yeah, like, life is to be enjoyed. You don't want to be a workhorse until you die. And
that's what a lot of people are, and that's what people think we have to be consigned to. Like, you should be happy you get to go to Spain for 2 weeks in the summer, and you should be happy with that.
But you live in a one bed, like, you live like in a cupboard under the stairs in London because you can't afford another place because it's too expensive.
But life is to learn new things, to enjoy what you enjoy, whether that's art or music or languages or books. I don't know what people like. Life is, you should be able to do that, not come home from work exhausted. You can't go do a bit of exercise, you're too tired to cook. Life is not about that, and we vote against that, and I don't know why.
I think partly because we think we're only a few moves away from being rich, but basically we're a few moves away from being homeless on the shadow realm, to be fair.
Yeah.
And we think tax cuts will always help us when realistically you're taking more money out of the system. Unless you believe in Reaganomics. If you believe in Reaganomics, then A, you don't belong here, and B, you're an idiot. Because that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I just think people were just intending on...
I think the press doesn't really help, that mentality of, you can do anything as long as you believe hard enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, that stuff reminds me of, Luke Rockhold, right, when he's like, believe, conceive, achieve.
Yeah.
And he got sparked by Michael Bisping. That's the kind of mentality that will lead you to, because I think that you'll run yourself into the ground. You might make it, you might be lucky, you might make it, but if you do make it in business, generally it's because you've hired good staff and they've propelled you to success.
Yeah.
It's not just because you've done it on your own. You know what I mean? Like, even Ronaldo wouldn't be the man he is without a lot of help from Fergie, from his nutritionist, from his coaches, from everyone else around him.
Yeah, like we're not saying don't work hard. That's not the message we're saying. We're saying work hard, do the best you can, but you need to live your life, because you won't be on your deathbed and go, oh, I'm so glad I worked every day. I didn't take a sick day. I didn't have any holidays because I went to work and I was a good employee. Yeah. Like, spend time with your families, your loved ones. Like, yeah, work is important. You need to make money. And working hard is good because, it gives you something to strive towards. But live your life a bit first. Like, don't be so hell-bent on running yourself into the ground. Take days to...
Take time.
Yeah, take your time, man. There's no rush. You got a long time.
That's the idea behind the 4-day work week. I think it's just so you have an extra day off, in the week. You spend it with your kids. Or you spend it doing nothing.
Yeah, it's a recharge day. Like, imagine you have like a nice Wednesday off, middle of the week, recharge, back in work on Thursday, Friday. Yeah, exactly. Go.
Unless you're Europa League done like us. But yeah, point being is
move on.
What's the Europa League? Never heard of it. But the point is, like, take time for yourself. It's important.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think for the question now, because I lay down the shot. No, why do people vote against the best interests? It's because I think it's just because people they want a better life themselves, but they think that they'll get it through just purely hard work. Like, it doesn't matter how how many punches I've taken, how badly the cards are stacked against me. I can do bits from this.
Yeah, people think like, as long as I go to work every day and I'm the best employee and I do all the work they give me and I work overtime, that I'll get promoted.
I'll get the promotion. But and then
you won't.
Person, you may get it. You may get one or two, but at the end of the day, only one person can get that promotion.
Yeah.
So if you're in a team of 10, only one person can make it up to the managerial spots. You might be a deputy manager, but you'll be there for a while. You see what I'm saying? And so only one person can make it up there.
So our advice on this segment of Madge and Ellis give life advice is...
Young whippersnappers give advice.
Yeah, two 23-year-olds give life advice is live your life. Relax a bit. Take your time. Good things will come.
Go to the museum we mentioned earlier in Amsterdam.
Yes, go to the Rijksmuseum. It's fantastic.
Can recommend 100%.
Yes.
Just stay away from brownies.
Yes. And we'll move on.
So, do you think Bernie has a shot to win the following US election? Boy, Bernie, Bernard.
I don't know. That is a very difficult... if you'd have asked me 7 days ago, I would have said yes, without a doubt. Now, I'm thinking maybe not.
I'm going to do a special video on Warren and how I think this is her chance to either decide where This is her redemption arc, where if she genuinely believes in progressive ideals, because I did see a separate video where it said that she was a Reaganite, where she believed in Reaganomics.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when you get older, your ideals don't change massively, if you see what I'm saying. Because the older you get, the more kind of ingrained you get to the ideas you have.
Yeah.
And so she was a Reaganite while she was a lecturer at university. That's college, in case you're any Americans hearing this, Alex. If you're out there.
And if you're American, vote Bernie.
Vote for Bernie, and like, I think obviously Biden's got the super delegates if it goes to a broken convention, which is very likely at this point. He's only one state behind. He'll win Michigan, but I think like now he's got to take. You know what I mean? He's got to put the 4-ounce gloves on. He's got to absolutely start whacking him. Do you know what I mean? He can't say my friend Joseph.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have to go as far as Trump say sleepy Joe Biden, but he's got to say, look, this man voted for your jobs to go.
He needs to be on the attack.
The only problem is now it might be too late, because whatever he says now, if Biden wins, Trump will use that against him.
But ultimately, I think whoever does win will lose the election to Trump anyway. I think Trump's doing 4 more years.
I think Bernie will have it, because what's Trump going to say? You know, his plans are pie in the sky. It's like, if America is the greatest nation in the world, why can't we have at least what other countries have?
I know Trump will do a very good job of spinning the economy, and because American unemployment, I don't know if it's actually reduced or whether they're just like
it's quite low.
Changing statistics, but that the American voters are focused on jobs and economy.
And stock market, but the stock market's going up and down like all the time.
But I think if you just say, the problem is Trump is literally denying coronavirus. So
yeah, did you see? I saw an article, I think it was this morning, where he doesn't want people with the coronavirus to come off the ship they're on because that'll boost the numbers. And he goes, "It's not my fault they have it." And I'm just like, dude.
If he addresses that strongly and confidently, I think he would.
I think we're apparently 8 months away from any kind of vaccine.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he'll be able to solve it. I think the main problem is he's got the deal he's done with the Taliban in Afghanistan. But then the US also committed an airstrike against the Taliban.
A day after.
Yeah, pretty much a day after. There's a video I need to get on with to do that.
Well, we won't go loads on this because I don't want to waste your videos. But I think if I were to, 4 years ago I said Trump would win, and no one.
I said that to Kane had a bet with him, £5.
Yeah. No, everyone I spoke to about it said, Hillary's going to win. No one believed me, and I'm going to say it again. Trump will win 2020.
I think Bernie. If it's Bernie, I think he'll have him. I think because Bernie will win the Rust Belt, and he's got to push the southern states because demographics have changed.
Yeah.
There are more obviously Latino people there, and he's got to get them out. And if you're a young person there and you haven't voted, then you're silly because
get out and vote.
Purely because you're going to get sleepy Joe Biden, and even if Biden wins, you're going to go back to the Obama era, which wasn't the best. You're going to go back to Obamacare, which was okay.
Yeah.
And if you're making a certain amount of money, and you're going to go back to endless wars, you're going to go back to maybe the Iran nuclear deal. Hopefully, we go back to that place to be best for everyone, in all honesty. But you're going to get a man who potentially has Alzheimer's. I don't want to say he has it, but a man who forgets what Obama's name was some of the time.
He doesn't look right.
He doesn't, and he's very old. He's lived a very long life, and there's sort of cognitive decline. It hits you hard. Look at Trump now. If you look at him in the 80s and 90s, he could actually talk coherently.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what I mean? He's... I don't want to talk about half the stuff he's doing now, but he's taking the mick out of disabled people.
Well, I'll leave you to do that as a video.
Yeah.
But save this clip. I think Trump will win 2020. And Madge thinks if it's Bernie will win.
I think if it's Biden versus Trump, I think Trump will have him.
And that's our predictions for the 2020 US election.
Do you think Labour will always be tarred with being financially irresponsible?
It's the best attack line the Conservatives have, I think.
It's the no one blames the Tories for the Great Depression.
No one mentions that the Tories have claimed, we'll fix the economy, and yet our economy remains unfixed.
It's stagnant. And they were fearful of a recession, I think.
Yeah.
This year, technical recession. And people say, Germany are going through a recession. It's because their economy's grown. So you can have periods of growth and periods of stagnation.
Yeah.
But our economy's been pretty stagnant. I think we've been in less than 1% growth over the last few years.
Very consistent in that regard. And it's a good attack line to use against Labour.
Yeah, George Osborne said that they did the right thing at the time.
Yeah. But you're going to get to a point where 2008 is, it's 12 years ago.
Trump tried to blame Obama for the coronavirus outbreak. That's what's going to happen. But that's the thing that really annoys. They had 10 years to fix everything. 10 years to fix bus routes. 10 years to fix the NHS.
Yeah.
10 years to do everything, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
They said austerity was over, and they've carried it on.
It won't end, and that's the problem. And
because it's not about fixing the economy; it's about ideology.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So what do you think there'll always be attack? Because it is the best attack line.
Yeah, I kind of do. I just think it's the go-to, and people care about the economy. Even if they don't know about it, they will care. And I think that's
So
what they'll use.
Google it the next day.
Yeah, pretty much. From a
Alright, and so the last politics question is 5 people or groups you would send to prison.
Priti Patel,
You put Pretty Patel there.
she's in there. Because she's not a nice woman. The old Arsenal board.
Who you got in there?
Well, Ivan Gazidis.
Okay.
Stan Kroenke.
He's current and former.
Yeah. Is that 3 or 2? What kind of?
Oh, Cam was a group.
Okay.
A group of people. You can throw Don Roll in there.
Nah, Don Roll's staying.
Don Roll, you're lucky. You're lucky this
You're
day.
lucky this time.
You're lucky.
Sign some
Step
players.
Step up, big man. Yeah. You don't want it.
I'll go with the sour sweets people.
See you in prison, lads.
Yeah, you're in. Sorry. If you like sour sweets.
You can't stand in a cell.
If you like sour sweets, you've just ruined a perfectly good sweet by making it difficult to eat. No need.
Go on.
This is a tough one. I'm gonna go with. I'm trying to think who deserves a slot. It's like Room 101, to get rid of an object. It's just.
It's difficult.
It is.
You want me to have a go and you can come back?
Yeah, if you get any,
Alright,
I might feed off you.
Mohammed Salman, 1.
Okay.
Definitely him. Genocide.
Yeah, fair enough.
Trump, 2.
Yep.
Good banter. Who would be 3? Ed Woodward on the board. So not obviously not Fergie and any of the cool people, but we're talking all the Glazers.
Deserve it. Yeah.
I don't care even if you're in or out. All of you go venture capitalists.
Yeah.
So what's that on 3? Modi, 4.
Fair enough.
And I think I'll chuck President Xi in there as well. 5.
You raced through them. I was struggling.
I've been thinking about this all week, and someone brought up Modi, and I was like, "Yeah, nah, he definitely deserves it."
I could pick those people, but I don't want to go with the same people now. So I want to go different.
Well, you got David Cameron. I think he'd be a candidate. Johnson.
Johnson's too obvious.
So who you got? You got the Arsenal. There's
Gazidis and
Gazidis. Okay, so we'll put them. Who you got as your 2?
Priti Patel.
Priti Patel. Okay.
People who eat sour sweets.
I feel like we don't deserve to be in here.
You know what? Fussy eaters are going in.
Fussy eaters, yeah.
You see, I saw a meme. It was something about people who only eat chicken nuggets and stuff.
Yeah.
And people in the comments were like, "Oh, I just have a selective appetite." Grow up.
You're still eating chicken nuggets. You need to grow up. There's a lot of good food out there.
Don't get me wrong. I like a chicken nugget. Who doesn't? But try something new. Have a curry. Have a chow mein.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah. Oh god, that's horrible. But just try new things.
See
and you can try new things in prison because that's where you're going.
When you're in the gulag, they send you some sauerkraut. Who's your 5? Who's your 5th person? I'll give you anyone in history. Anyone you want.
Okay. Well, there's obvious ones like Hitler and so on.
Well, Reagan, so they can do Reaganomics. They won't be screwed. Thatcher.
I'm gonna go with. Who deserves it?
Tony Blair's still alive.
That is true. He's gonna stay. I'm gonna keep him out for now. But watch your back, Tony.
You might be on our top 10.
You might be in the top 10. I'm gonna say. I want a good one. That's the thing. I don't want a really easy Boris Johnson. I want one that people go ooh. I'm trying to think what annoys me. I don't know. Not much annoys me. That's I'm very relaxed.
4. You want to do 4? You want to come back with the 5th one when you come back?
I'll have a think. I'll try and find a 5th one.
All right, cool. All right, we'll leave it there. So we're back after a long break. Stuff happens.
Intermission.
Brief intermission, and so Ellis, you want to give your 5 people to prison?
Priti Patel.
Okay.
People who don't like sour sweets. Stan Kroenke and Ivan Gazidis.
Okay.
Who was my 4th? I thought of another one as well in the meantime, and I forgot one of the people I put on there.
Alright, who's your 4th anyway? So who's your other person?
The one I forgot, hunters.
Hunters, animal hunters.
Animal
Poachers.
hunters, yeah. People who hunt animals for sport.
What's so-called sport? When it's not really a sport, is it?
No.
Go 1v1 with a lion in the Colosseum, I'll ring you.
Then without a weapon.
No hard scoping, fam.
Yeah, just a fist. And if you win, then fair game.
Yeah, if you win, then
But if you hunt animals for fun, then you are, I'd say, a psychopath or a sociopath, one of the 2.
I think you should be hunted.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Not even with dogs, bruv. With a drone. Like a predator drone. No.
The military are on your case.
Target practice.
Target acquired.
I was running through the forest. I don't want to just end of proper go after him. So yeah, all right, I'll give you four people.
Thank you, because there was another one. Edit it back, and we'll figure it out.
All right, if you remember who it is.
If I do,
go
yeah.
through this.
I can't remember for life of me.
Got any Arsenal players you want to throw in there? Ashley Cole. Nearly crashed my car when I heard the wage they were going to give me. Cheated on Cheryl Cole.
Yeah.
Bad move.
Very bad move.
You
Cheryl, if you listen to this.
You want to throw him in? You like, yeah, it'll be the fifth.
No, I kind of get why he left, but at the same time, like, bun him. You know what I mean?
Wasn't he an invincible and he just left?
He was an invincible, yeah.
Cool. I'll tell you what, Sepp Blatter. Sepp Blatter, is that his
Yeah,
name?
Sepp Blatter.
Yeah, we'll
Sepp
put him in.
Blatter. Yeah.
Sepp.
Yeah,
What was he? Who was the French dude?
Michel Platini.
Was he corrupt as hell as well?
Yeah, both of them were. They kind
Put
of
him in
together.
as a double.
Yeah,
double
they're
act.
double
They
act.
can share a cell.
Yeah, they both go in together.
You know, Sepp Blatter, man. Like, women should wear shorter shorts too.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Just-
that guy, man.
And he was just, yeah.
I rate the comedian who threw money over it.
Yeah, Lee
Oh,
Nelson.
That was madness. I watched that clip again and he
He's
gave like,
good.
the background of how he got there. He had to like hide on a pitch for like 3 hours or something.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fair play to him, though. It was funny. And
Yeah,
deserved.
It's like 10 seconds of the greatest moment
Yeah.
of all time.
If you're listening, Sepp and Michel Platini,
How
come
are
at
you not
us.
in prison?
Yeah.
How are you not in prison already?
Well, because they're very rich. They've already paid everyone off. But
Frauds.
frauds.
Absolute frauds. So